Coming up on Big Red Zone Game Day. Between them, they've spent a quarter of a century patrolling pro sidelines. Now Bill Callahan and Dave Wannstedt meet at Memorial Stadium with teams heading in opposite directions.
It's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a tough game.
I'm just worried about the guys who are going to play, because the guys who are going to play are the ones that are going to, lay it on the line and do it the right way. And the guys that look for the exit doors, guess what? They'll find them.
Nebraska quarterback Zach Taylor's long journey to big-time college football is off to a slow start, but he still dreams big.
Win a national championship, I think that's the perfect ending for any scenario.
Nebraska's defense is on a scoring rampage, 4 touchdowns in 2 games.
How many points can we expect this season from this defense? It seems pretty good.
How many points?
Yeah.
How many grains of sand are there on a beach? How many stars are there in the sky?
Well, there's a lot.
There are.
A perfect non-conference season is within reach. Now the Huskers have to make it happen. This is Big Red Zone Game Day. Good afternoon from Memorial Stadium in Lincoln. The defending Big East champions are in town. It's the Pitt Panthers taking on Nebraska right here on KETV. I'm John Schutz, and welcome to Big Red Zone Game Day. We've got a full hour ahead of us as we prepare for the kickoff between these 2 former NFL coaches. Let's check out the pregame buzz for today's game. Redshirt freshman Leiden Murtha will split time at left tackle with Cornelius Fuamatu-Thomas. Murtha is one of the most impressive guys on this team when you look at him in street clothes. Unfortunately, he's been in them too much. He's 6'7", 315 pounds, but he's been through a rash of injuries since arriving on campus. Most recently, a shoulder that required surgery in the spring, and it'll be interesting to finally see him out there. Also, check of the weather. It's going to be windy today, gusts up to 30 miles per hour, but no rain expected in the forecast. We are about an hour away from the kickoff of this game. Holding down the fort in our Omaha studio is Matt Schick. And Matt, Nebraska comes into this game at 2-0, Pitt 0-2, but Nebraska not totally comfortable with the way things are going right now.
Yeah, John, good to see you this afternoon as well. There is no question that the guys down in Lincoln are thrilled to be unbeaten at this point at 2-0. There would be more reason for concern if they were ecstatic with the way they've done it. They know, just as Husker Nation does, that they've still got a ways to go, and they'd better bring it today against Pittsburgh. This week, the thought that permeated Husker camp was that today's opponent, Pittsburgh, will be the toughest yet.
They are a championship football team that we've got tremendous respect for. As you look at their history a year ago, being a BCS Bowl team, and obviously winning the Big East championship, they are a solid football team.
They have a very good running attack. They have good speed, big backs, big offensive line. They're going to have to get off blocks. They're big bodies.
Through 2 games in this young season, the defense has played exceptionally well, while the offense has struggled. But head coach Bill Callahan isn't about to get too positive or too negative.
It's only game 2, so I don't get overly excited or, I don't get too critical of where we're at.
One of the biggest criticisms is the lack of production from the offense. The fact is that through 2 games, last year's offense had put up more points and yards than this year's team. Jay Norvell has a simple response.
We were 2-0 and we were 1-1 last year, so, what's the most important stat? I'll take the last one.
You can talk about stats all you want. How soon fans forget this program was in complete disarray after 2 games last season, coming off that loss to Southern Miss. And through 2 games last year, the Huskers had 12 turnovers. This year, they've cut that in half with only 6. So, of course, it was the talk all week, though. The pressure that is on Bill Callahan to beat Pittsburgh, a team that lost to Callahan's predecessor last week. John Schutz joins us once again in Lincoln. John, the coaches may not be making a big deal out of it, but it makes for an interesting discussion at least, right?
It does, and I don't think you can ignore the fact that if Nebraska loses this game, there's going to be a lot of heat on somebody. But Matt, comparing scores of common opponents, a popular game among football fans, but more and more you do that, you realize that it just doesn't make sense to do it. Nonetheless, there are a lot of Nebraska football fans who took notice of Ohio University's win over Pittsburgh last week. And, that's the Frank Solich coached Ohio University. As you mentioned, Solich got his first win with the Bobcats in overtime against Pitt. The 16-10 victory gives Pitt an 0-2 record, and it makes you wonder if it puts some pressure on Nebraska coach Bill Callahan, who took over for Solich after he was fired as the Huskers head coach.
I don't think that's fair. I look at Ohio as playing, very well against them, and to their credit, I wouldn't want to diminish their efforts. Certainly not. Like I said last week, in college football, anybody can beat anybody these days.
Here we go. Frame it right. Callahan says Pitt is a solid football team despite its 0-2 record. He also says his Huskers have a lot of room for improvement heading into Saturday's game. And you want to talk about pressure? How would you like to be Pitt coach Dave Wannstedt? His team was ranked in the preseason top 25, and even though the Panthers are off to an 0-2 start, the veteran coach, he's not showing any signs of panic. Pitt coach Dave Wannstedt returned to his alma mater after 11 years as an NFL head coach with the Bears and the Dolphins. After dealing with the parity of the pros, he's had a lot of experience in bouncing back from losses.
You really need to understand what loses games for you before you understand and start talking about what will win games. In other words, jumping off sides when you're in a 2-minute situation, getting an illegal procedure to move the ball back at the end of the game, that will lose a game for you.
As the Panthers attempt to turn their season around, Wannstedt knows there is potential for this team to unravel.
You don't have success, there's a lot of, as Bill Parcells says, there's a lot of exit doors. I'm not worried about it. I'm just worried about the guys who are going to play, because the guys who are going to play are the ones that are going to, lay it on the line and do it the right way. And the guys that look for the exit doors, guess what? They'll find them.
Wannstedt says his team did get better between weeks 1 and 2. Both of Ohio U's touchdowns came on interception returns, and the Bobcats didn't mount much offense, but then again, neither did Pitt.
We made some progress in certain areas of our football team, and we just got to continue to clean up and the other areas. Put it all together. That's what we need to do. We need to go out there and play all 3 phases at a high level and execute. That's what it's going to take to beat Nebraska. We ain't going to back away from anything. We're going to keep moving with the process, and it is a process.
Wannstedt was an offensive tackle at Pitt from 1970 to 73. He was also the captain of their Fiesta Bowl team back in 1973. Well, we have a full day of college football action coming your way here on Channel 7. And we're here to take you right up to the kickoff between Nebraska and Pitt with our pregame show. And at 2:30, we're going to hand it over to Brent Musburger and Gary Danielson for the call of the game. But we're back here at 6 with live postgame coverage right here on KETV Newswatch 7 at 6. And then at 10, we bring you more complete coverage of the game from the Big Red Zone. We're just getting started here on Big Red Zone game day. When we return, Nebraska's anemic running game has NU fans wondering what's wrong with the offensive line. We'll explore that question next. And Matt checks up on the touchdown club. What's the secret behind the Black Shirts' record-setting scoring surge? Stay with us. Welcome back to Memorial Stadium in Lincoln for more of Big Red Zone game day. The Nebraska quarterbacks getting ready for the ball game today, and they're hoping they get a little bit of protection out of that Husker offensive line. We're about 55 minutes away from the kickoff between Nebraska and Pitt, and Matt Schick joins us once again from our studios in Omaha. And Matt, the offense has had its struggles so far this season, and a lot of people are pointing the finger at that offensive line. Yeah, John, red flags were raised in the season opener with regards to that O-line. Whenever a Husker running attack averages less than 3 yards per carry against a Division I AA team, Husker Nation sets ready with its collective finger firmly placed on that panic button. Things didn't get much better against Wake Forest. They're going to have to get better today.
Stretch play for Ross. He can't get to the outside. He is tripped up on the play, and a pretty play.
The Husker running game has come up short so far this season, with many people pointing fingers at the offensive line.
What's the problem as you see it right now?
On the offensive line, everybody doing the right thing at the same time. Just maybe one thing here, one thing there, you get it fixed in one spot and then something else. So just being consistent, I think, is the big thing.
Against Maine, the Huskers averaged 2.9 yards per carry. Against Wake Forest, it was 4 yards per carry. But take away the 57-yard third-quarter run by Corey Ross, and that average drops to 2.2 yards per rush.
I think it's a part of experience and playing under pressure and really getting a familiarity and communicating better. I think that's the crux of it right there is really feeling confident about the guy playing next to you.
Oh, I don't think it is. It's a lack of confidence. I mean, the guys on the line, have confidence in each other. It's just a matter of getting it done.
And Coe says there's absolutely no lack of chemistry on the line.
I have nothing but great feelings for this offensive line. I mean, we have a lot of fun on and off the field. I think the chemistry's there, so I don't think that's a problem.
Whatever the problem is, the Huskers had better figure it out with conference season right around the corner.
He is tackled in the backfield again. Tremendous.
The O-line will hopefully get a boost today. As John Schuetz said earlier, the return of Lyden Murtha. He will split time with Cornelius Fuamatu-Thomas at left tackle. And O-line coach Dennis Wagner talked this week about his displeasure with his offensive tackles. He also mentioned that Corey Ross and Marlon Lucky could be used in some two-back sets, while Cody Glenn should make his debut at fullback today. We'll see if any of those moves provide a much-needed spark for this offense. We check back in with John Schuetz at Memorial Stadium. John, you have to wonder, with the way these two teams have struggled, if today's game will be a showcase of ground game futility here.
Well, yeah, let's face it, neither one of these offenses exactly lit it up in their first two games. Each of them only have 2 touchdowns each offensively, and one of Nebraska's drives was a 1-yard drive because of a punt return that got them to the 1-yard line. So, that's not fantastic. The Husker offensive line in good company, though. The guys up front at Pitt have had their problems, too. Through 2 games, Panthers have allowed 8 sacks, and the running game is producing about 3.5 yards per carry, and it gets worse for Coach Dave Wannstedt.
The offensive line right now, we're so beat up that, Don, we got 2 or 3 guys limping, and we're hoping that from a health standpoint that they'll be able to play.
Part of Pitt's struggles can be traced to a new offensive system. Former Pitt quarterback Matt Cavanaugh is the new coordinator, and they say this offense is a work in progress. Sort of sounds familiar, doesn't it? Nebraska is still looking for a little oomph for its offense as well. But when we come back, the guy who's running the show in the Big Red offense, Zach Taylor and his family, talk about their long road to Lincoln. And the Black Shirts, they've set records for sacks and scores. Why the turnaround from 2004? I'll tell you when Big Red Zone Game Day continues live from Lincoln. That's Nebraska quarterback Zach Taylor getting ready to make just his 3rd start in major college football. The Norman, Oklahoma native has thrown for 306 yards in his first 2 games as a Husker. Welcome back to Big Red Zone Game Day. The Nebraska offense, as we mentioned, has scored just 2 touchdowns this season. And, slow starts, not uncommon for Zach Taylor. He has learned to overcome them in his college career. It's been a long journey for Zach Taylor from Norman to the tunnel that leads to Tom Osborne Field. He first made a commitment to Oklahoma State, then went to Wake Forest, and later transferred to junior college.
It was always my dream in high school, but once I signed with Wake Forest, that's, you kind of realize you're not going to be on the big national stage, and, not everybody's going to be watching all the time. So, when I transferred to junior college even, I had no idea what would happen to me. I didn't know if I'd go 1AA, D1. Obviously, you hope you go D1, but it's just funny how things work out.
Zach is the son of a former Oklahoma Sooner defensive back, so he was Sooner born and Sooner bred.
When we left yesterday, we had a huge Nebraska flag flying in our front yard. So if our house is destroyed when we get back, we'll know why. But no, it's really easy. It really wasn't. I mean, I guess because of the respect I had as a player playing against Nebraska.
I've never heard my dad, I've heard him say plenty of things about Texas and Oklahoma State, but I've never heard him say a bad thing about Nebraska growing up.
Well, we're glad your son's playing for us.
Well, we are too.
We really appreciate that. Thanks so much. Okay.
We hope you say that after the game, too.
Oh, we will. What the hell,
The Taylor family is enjoying Zach's new role as the Nebraska starting quarterback. But with Sherwood's experience as a former college coach, they know things won't always be easy.
When anything good appears in the paper, Sherwood always says, you better cut that out and put it in your pocket because it's not always going to be like that.
Despite the Husker offense's slow start this season, all of the Taylors maintain high expectations for Zach's career.
Win a national championship, I think that's the perfect ending for any scenarios.
I think his expectation is to win a national championship. I mean, and I think it's because of the fact he's at a school that the history is there. I mean, and he just absolutely understands what goes with the Nebraska football, and I think he'll be disappointed if they don't.
And the model for this dream was right in the Taylors' backyard. Oklahoma quarterback Josh Heupel took a similar journey as Zach. He transferred from Weber State to a junior college and then to the Sooners, where he led OU to a national title in 2000.
I think he thinks it's the perfect situation. I mean, just because he sees it as an opportunity to be a part of coming back to the way it was. I mean, he knows the history because of the things I've told him of Nebraska.
It's very ironic that I did know Josh Heupel and that we've traveled the same path. Obviously, when I knew him, I didn't know that I was going to be taking that route. I thought I'd be at Wake Forest for 5 years, so I didn't intend to take the same route he had. But it's funny how it's worked out like that. He's a great guy, and he's a great person to kind of mimic a little bit.
Well, Zach's dad may have had a lot of respect for Nebraska football, but he is quick to point out that he never played in a game for Oklahoma that they lost to Nebraska. Still kind of proud of that. Well, we are cruising towards kickoff between Nebraska and Pitt, still ahead on Big Red Zone game day. The Huskers may have won last year's game at Pittsburgh, but they have to go with a different roadmap to victory this season. We'll tell you about that. And Memorial Stadium is getting a new look with more seats, a huge TV, and more. We'll take you through the plan when we come back, live from Lincoln. Welcome back to Big Red Zone game day. Well, that is just part of the new construction going on here at Memorial Stadium. That steel frame there, that's where our new TV is going to go. I think they get a big remote with that. Not really sure, though. Welcome back. Fans coming to the game today are taking notice of that new Tom and Nancy Osborne athletic complex. Crews are working fast, and KETV Newswatch 7 Mike DiGiacomo is the first to get behind the scenes for a look.
The framework is up, and so are the big red ends. 230 construction workers running their version of the 2-minute drill.
We're going to try to have her done August 1st. So we got a pretty fast pace, 10 months ahead of us.
Former Husker strength and conditioning coach Boyd Epley is overseeing the $50 million project.
The second floor are the football offices, which overlook the strength complex. The level 3 is actually the roof of the strength complex. That's a 9,000 square foot terrace.
Right next door, the new indoor practice facility, bigger and brighter lights, and a high-tech climate control system.
We can heat this room to 130 degrees in case we need to train for a game against an Arizona team in the middle of the afternoon.
And check out this room. There will be batting cages and even a sand volleyball court.
It's kind of like training on the beach in the middle of winter and getting in a game of volleyball.
To create opportunities to train better or smarter or somehow give ourselves an advantage with our facility.
It's a total package where athletes eat, study, and work out. Already it's paid dividends in recruiting. Last year was considered one of the best football classes in the country.
Last year they heard about it. This year they're seeing it. Next year they're going to be using it.
But the biggest hurdle, it's not paid for yet. They still need donations.
We don't want to rely on ticket revenue over a long period of number of years to pay for this thing, because that means we won't have money to do any other projects.
And Epley says those who donate $100 or more get their names permanently displayed in the new facility. For Big Red Zone Game Day, I'm Mike DiGiacomo, KETV Newswatch 7.
Well, when they're all finished, Memorial Stadium is going to have 6,500 more seats, the largest big screen TV in America, new concession stands, and Matt Schick, very important, more restrooms.
Yes.
Always very important. Matt, the Huskers, they're hoping today's outcome going to be similar to last year with Pitt.
Yeah, that's right, John. Last year's game was not very pretty. In fact, in the press box at Pitt, many a beat writer and television analyst contended it was one of the worst college football games they'd ever seen. The Huskers were coming off that bitterly tough loss to Southern Miss, jumped out to an early 10-0 first quarter lead against Pittsburgh. Once again, special teams allowed the Panthers to stay in the game. Marcus Furman returned this kickoff 96 yards for a score, one of 2 kickoff returns for a TD allowed by the Big Red that year. The Huskers were up 24-10 in the fourth quarter. Tyler Palko, freshman at the time, led a comeback 34-yard TD pass to Greg Lee with less than 5 minutes remaining, and we had a ball game. The Blackshirts held off this final Hail Mary on the final play to preserve the win, 24-17, which moved the Huskers to 2-1 on the season. Now this year, the Huskers are again looking for another win against Pitt and Palco, but according to the coaches, last year's game plan won't have much relevance in today's matchup.
You would think that a game between two teams less than a year ago would be relevant in terms of game planning the second time around. Not so.
Well, it's a new system, new coordinator, so it'd be totally different.
Anytime you bring in a new coach, things change. The look of a team changes. And for Pitt, Dave Wannstedt has brought a new look.
Well, they have a new coach, and so they're running a little different offense. I was watching some film today. They can move the ball. Notre Dame played a great game, but they moved the ball.
Defensively, their structure is essentially the same. It hasn't varied much, but they're big, physical, fast players. They gave us a hard time out there last year at Heinz Field when we played them. I think their scheme has improved, from a coverage standpoint.
Last year, quarterback Tyler Palco had a horrendous afternoon against the Huskers with 3 interceptions, getting pulled for a time in the second half. He went on to have a tremendous season, and the Huskers know he's a different player than the one they handled in '04.
Palco's been there. He's led a team to a championship, into a BCS Bowl. This is a guy, like I said, he's a tremendous competitor, and he comes from a coaching background.
He's done a lot of good things. He's completing over 50% of his passes. Again, he has a new system, first year in his system, so I'm sure that's affected him a little bit, but he's a competitor. He throws a great ball. He's a great leader, and he's tough, and he'll be a tremendous challenge for us this week.
The Huskers won that turnover battle in that game 4-1, but it came down to the final play of the game, which underscores the offense's inconsistency in Callahan's first year, something the staff continues to work on. We'll see if we see more fruits of the labor on offense in just about a half an hour or so. We check back in with KETV News Watch 7's John Schutz at Memorial Stadium. John, we're talking some defense after the break.
Yeah, when Nebraska's all-time leading tackler left for the pros, there was some concern over who would take Barrett Ruud's place. And when we return, middle linebacker Corey McEwen. He's a guy who's shown that he packs a punch and a punchline. There's Dave Wannstedt getting ready for the game, but Corey McEwen shows he packs a punch and a punchline, and we'll test Husker fans' knowledge of today's opponent when we return. More at Big Red Zone Game Day. Welcome back to Big Red Zone Game Day. It's quiz time. Time to find out how much you know about the Pitt Panthers. Okay. All right. Between Pitt and Nebraska, which team has won the most college football national titles?
Nebraska!
That was very enthusiastic, but wrong. Which team has won more national championships?
In football?
In football.
Nebraska.
I'm sorry, it's Pitt.
Damn, really?
Pitt's won 9 national titles. How many has Nebraska won?
5.
That's right.
Well, I got that down.
Yes, Pitt has won
I'm not
9
a Pitt fan.
Most of them were in the 30s. What Pitt running back won the Heisman Trophy in 1976?
My dad played in 1976.
Your dad played in
For
1976?
Huskers. Not
Well,
for
what's your dad's name?
Ted Harvey.
You just forgot your dad's name.
They just made that up. What's your dad's name? I don't know. 1976, what Pitt running back won the Heisman Trophy?
Tony Dorsett.
Tony Dorsett. Your lipstick got off just a little. The Pitt coach is Dave Wannstedt. Between Dave Wannstedt and Bill Callahan, who had the better winning percentage as a head coach in the NFL?
I'm going to go with
Let's go
Callahan.
with Bill Callahan, just to be just to root for the Huskers.
Just to be nice? Yes. Correct. There you go.
We're one for like.
Bill Callahan's winning percentage is 4.857. Wannstedt's is 4.855.
Neither of them truly that impressive. No offense to Callahan, but
Are you from like Pittsburgh or something?
No.
Why are you so
Because it's the game is on ABC. I'm asking the questions here. All right. The Pitt football team is known for an innovation in football. Do you know what that was? They were the first to do something in football.
Shotgun formation.
No.
No clue. Forward pass.
They wore numbers on their uniforms.
Well, sir, they wore numerals.
I'm sorry. They wore
He's a
numerals
math
on their.
professor.
What's the difference?
The numeral,
Explain that to us,
the
please.
numeral is the symbol that you wear, that you write on paper. Number is the concept behind the symbol.
I got to be honest, sir. The plunging neckline may not have been the right way to go. Just an observation. Well, we're here to educate, if nothing else. Coaches in today's game know a little bit of something about each other. It's a matchup of former NFL head coaches. Former Miami Dolphins and Chicago Bears coach Dave Wannstedt is the new head coach at Pitt. He and Nebraska coach Bill Callahan have gone head-to-head one time as head coaches. Wannstedt's Dolphins beat Callahan's Raiders 23-17 in 2002 down in Miami. But both coaches a little more worried about Pitt and Nebraska 2005 as Wannstedt tries to avoid an 0-3 start at Pitt.
It's not about the coaches. I really don't believe that. And I think it's about our players, and it's especially for us here. Our players have done tremendous in terms of their preparation and focus. And for us to have success, we've got to continue in that route. We expect a completely different team coming in here than what we saw on film. So I know Dave, from that aspect, his teams are always prepared.
Wannstedt spent 16 years coaching in the NFL, 11 of them as a head coach. And as Coach Callahan pointed out earlier this week, Wannstedt, a very respected defensive coach in the National Football League. And anybody watching that Nebraska performance the first two games this season had to enjoy what they've seen so far. Is this vindication of Coach Cause and the Huskers starting linebackers explain the West Coast defense to our Matt Schick? This is Big Red Zone Game Day. There's Nebraska defensive coordinator Kevin Cosgrove. Boy, he was under fire last year with these Huskers, but so far this season, he's got the black shirts clicking on all cylinders. Welcome back to Big Red Zone Game Day. Well, a big reason for the Huskers' success so far this season, maybe the only reason, is that Nebraska defense. Matt Schick joins us again from Omaha. Matt, his defense has been pretty offensive this season.
Yeah, John, some people would ask, where would the Huskers be without this defense? The simple answer to that is that they'd have to forfeit each game because the NCAA requires you to put a defense on the field. But yes, the black shirts sure have been getting it done this year.
10, 49-yard line awake in its own territory. Three-step drop. This ball is picked off in the air by Stu Bradley. Down the far sideline. 30, 25,
If the first 2 games are any indication, it could be a record-setting season for the black shirts.
Well, I think we're playing, we're playing aggressive. Again, they're playing faster, which helps that because they really understand, have a good feel for what's going on, and that's just a year in the system.
Last year in the same system, the Huskers didn't score 1 defensive touchdown. This year, they've got 4 TDs under their collective black shirt belt. The Husker offense has only 2.
We want to score points. We want to score more points than the defense. I mean, that's something that's got to get done.
The black shirts aren't getting too high on themselves quite yet.
On offense, everyone has to, if one guy messes up, the whole play can break down. On defense, one guy makes a great play and it makes the whole defense look good. So it's harder for the offense to really get gelling. I think once they start getting in a groove, then that'll make a big difference for the rest of the year.
Bill Callahan is trying to keep the success of the defense in proper perspective.
We've got a long ways to go yet. This is week 2, and we've got a long ways to go before we get into conference play, before throwing any accolades on them. They've produced. They got to get better too.
Last week marked the first time in school history that a Husker defense scored 3 touchdown returns in one game. John Schutz joins us again from Memorial Stadium. John, we'll see if the offense has learned a thing or two about putting up points today.
Well, they better, because you can't count on the defense to score 3 touchdowns every game. I think we all know that one. All right, Matt, we'll check in with you a little bit later. We're just about 25 minutes away from the kickoff here between Nebraska and Pitt, right here on KETV Channel 7. When we come back, he spent his first 2 years watching Barrett Ruud, but Corey McEwen must have learned something. We meet the new man in the middle next. Also, I'll give you my list of things to watch for in today's game. Stay with us. Big Red Zone Game Day continues live from Lincoln. Welcome back to Big Red Zone Game Day. You know, opposing teams, they've taken notice of Nebraska's number 13. Of course, quarterback Zach Taylor wears that number. But on defense, number 13 has become quite conspicuous, too. That's linebacker Corey McEwen. He's Nebraska's all-time leading tackler. And when Barrett Ruud left the Huskers as a second-round NFL draft pick, there was concern over who would replace him at Mike linebacker. But through 2 games, redshirt sophomore Corey McEwen has stepped into the middle of the defense and become a surprisingly productive player.
I think you should be surprised. You know, I didn't really do anything the last 2 years except watch Barrett play, which was nice. You know, I really didn't do much. But, you know, I came out in summer camp and just thought, it's time. You know, Coach Callahan and Coach Kaz kind of kicked me in the butt during the summer and said, it's time to get going.
He's taken it upon himself to become the player that he is right now. He's got to get better. There's no question about that. I think he'd be the first one to tell you. He'll only get better as we move along as well, but he's a guy that loves football. He's kind of a guy that's going to rally the troops out there. He's kind of a bell cow out there. And
McEwen played in just 1 game last year, but through 2 games this season, he leads the team in tackles with 20, tackles for loss with 5, and sacks with 3. He also leads the team in words per minute.
We like calling out the plays out of their formations. That's one of my favorite things to do. And during the Wake Forest game, I sat up there, I called the QB draw on him, and then he motioned the guy out and made me motion out of the box, and he ran away from me. And he even told me he knew he did. He goes, I knew you were, and he goes, I had to get you out of there. I was like, don't cheat, dude. Just play. Kind of, Keevan Smith got a little mad at me because I'd sit there, I'd say a few things, and he's like, you're making the linemen mad, and we hit them first, you know? But what's fun is it to go on the field and just run around and hit people when you're talking, having fun with your buddies, you know? There's no point to it.
It probably won't surprise you to learn that Corey McEwen is a communications studies major, and he's obviously quite an athlete as well. In addition to playing football in high school, he was also a star for Naperville North High School's basketball team in Illinois. He averaged 21 points and 8 rebounds per game. Well, there's a lot more to come here on Big Red Zone Game Day. Still ahead. You've heard of the West Coast offense. Everybody has. But how about the West Coast defense? Well, we've seen the playbook, and you will too. Stay with us. Well, the folks in South Stadium getting settled in as Nebraska gets ready to take on Pitt right here on Channel 7. You know, the Husker defense has provided 50% of the scoring for this Nebraska football team this season with 4 touchdowns. To their credit, Matt Schick is back in Omaha. Matt, kind of makes you wonder how they're getting it done.
No, it does, John. Is it just familiarity with the system? And exactly what kind of system are they running down there in Lincoln where they can score defensive touchdowns seemingly at will? Earlier this week, I spoke with the 3 starting blackshirt linebackers, Stuart Bradley, Corey McEwen, and Bo Ruud, all of whom have scored touchdowns this year. And as you'll see, scoring is just part of the plan.
Throw the ball up for grabs, intercepted by McEwen.
It doesn't take a genius to figure out that the Husker defense has been playing out of its collective mind. With 4 touchdowns in 2 games, they've got scoring on the mind.
You know, you guys have been doing real well this season. What's the goal of this defense here?
Score touchdowns?
Well, I mean, that sounds easy and very simple, Corey, but what about stopping the run?
What about scoring touchdowns? Yeah, that's what we do.
This defense didn't score 1 single touchdown last year, but now it's all they can think about.
You guys have put up a lot of points so far. How many points can we expect this season from this defense? It seems pretty good.
How many points?
Yeah.
How many grains of sand are there on a beach? How many stars are there in the sky?
Well, there's a lot.
There are.
Defensive coordinator Kevin Cosgrove has said his unit is playing better because they're more familiar with the system. A system that may be the first of its kind.
You guys have put up 4 defensive touchdowns through 2 games. That's a lot of points. Is that above and beyond what people should expect here from this defense?
No, I mean, we expect to put up a lot of points, and that's what people expect from the West Coast defense.
The West Coast defense? What are you talking about?
Yeah, the West Coast defense. I mean, you should see the playbook. It's huge.
It was the first I'd heard of this West Coast defense. I needed an explanation.
So you're throwing this term around, West Coast defense, and I don't even know what that is.
How long have you been doing sports?
Well, I've been in Omaha for about a month now, but I've been covering the Huskers for a while.
I'm surprised you haven't heard about it. It's the reason why they brought Coach Kaz in. You must have been living under a rock or something, because that's Kaz came to install the West Coast defense. Am I right? I mean, it's been the talk of the town for the past year.
Right.
I mean, you know about that, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It became very clear that the focus of the Black Shirts has shifted at Nebraska. It was confirmed when they revealed the playbook.
I mean, this is the West Coast defense playbook. I mean, I would guess it's pretty complicated.
Well, Coach Kaz has really simplified it for us this year.
Yeah, I think that's pretty obvious. Yeah.
Keep going.
I contested it seemed too simple. They disagreed.
They run the ball, we score. They throw, we score. They're called touchdowns.
Now, you guys are supposed to tackle. You're supposed to stop the run,
tackle
stop the pass.
Tackle schmackle, we score.
That's what the discussion of defensive philosophy had resorted to. Tackle schmackle.
Well, I mean, this West Coast defense, you can talk about it all you want, but you still have to defend the pass. It's not all about scoring.
This isn't the weather. This is sports, okay? Let me explain this to you. We don't worry about the pass. We don't worry about the run. We're going to take the ball and we're going to score. That's all there is to it.
It sure is hard to argue with the results of the West Coast defense.
So it's all about the West Coast defense. How about that, John? Now, if only the West Coast offense could follow suit, this could be a pretty prolific team, huh?
I don't know. Those guys are playing so loose right now, as you can tell by that. Who knows what they can do?
Yeah.
Matt, we'll be back. We'll check up with you a little bit later. The countdown to kickoff, though, now down to 15 minutes. And when Big Red Zone Game Day continues, 7 things for you to keep in mind when you watch today's game right here on Channel 7. And some final thoughts before the Huskers face the Pitt Panthers.
Welcome back to Big Red Zone Game Day. Nebraska and Pittsburgh meet for the 24th time in history. Pitt has the best winning percentage of any Nebraska non-conference opponent with a minimum of 10 games played. If the Huskers hope to close the gap in the series, here's John Schutz's list of 7 things to take care of today.
Pittsburgh is 15-5-3 all-time against Nebraska, but the Panthers are most concerned about another record. Pitt is trying to avoid its first 0-3 start since 1984.
They know they have to get out here to win some way, somehow, so it does make them pretty dangerous.
In Pittsburgh's first 2 games, quarterback Tyler Palko has thrown for just 1 touchdown and 4 interceptions. That includes 2 picks that gave Ohio their only touchdowns in an overtime win last week.
You turn the football over, and you turn them over for touchdowns. You turn them over in the red zone. You know, you're not going to beat anybody. You know, Tyler is our leader. He's one of the best players we got on this team. And he's won an awful lot of games around here, and he'll continue to win an awful lot of games.
He took a lot of hits from us, and we hope we're going to deliver more and see if he can take even more this year.
Nebraska's cornerbacks can expect to get attacked in this game in a way they haven't seen to this point.
We're the youngest position on the field.
I feel that they'll, test our corners just like anybody does. We're going to test their corners. They'll test our corners. That's the game of football.
After 2 record-breaking games, the Blackshirts have shown an ability to carry the Cornhuskers. And while more improvement is needed, at least one coach is impressed.
They're rolling pretty good right now, Nebraska. Playing with a lot of confidence. You know, defensively, they are fast. And our offense is going to have to meet the challenge.
Both offenses are looking to break out this week. Each team only has 2 offensive touchdowns in 2 weeks.
Our players understand that they have to get better for us to get to where we want to go as a football team.
One step in the right direction for Nebraska would be to eliminate the drops by receivers.
It comes down to executing under pressure, and we constantly and continually talk about making plays, in pressure situations. We make plays during practice. We just need to transfer it into the game.
Both teams have shown big play ability on special teams, and it's an area that won't be overlooked this week.
We've got to improve our special teams. We've got to get better across the board again. In that area and that phase of our game.
Well, last week against Ohio, Pitt scored its only touchdown of the game on the opening kickoff return. Nebraska's return game last week tailed off a little bit after that great game against Maine. But Matt, You know, one guy who's overlooked here a little bit is Nebraska's punter, Sam Cook, 17th nationally in punting. What are your final thoughts on this game?
Well, to be honest, John, with the way Tyler Palko has been playing, he's struggled, and it almost seems like a foregone conclusion that the Blackshirts are going to come up with some turnovers. The key will be turning those into points. Now, sure, the defense has scored 4 touchdowns, but as a team, the Huskers are still even in the turnover margin. 6 turnovers, 6 takeaways. The Husker offense has yet to truly take advantage of field position set up by Blackshirt turnovers. The Huskers will need to capitalize on those good fortunes. Most importantly, they'll need to hold on to the football in order to win. This is a game that the Huskers should win. They're going to have to force Pittsburgh to earn everything they get. John, how about you as we end this show?
Well, that is always a key, Matt. You know, they don't get a lot of attention, but the Nebraska defensive line has been fantastic so far this season. A big reason why those linebackers have been able to make so many plays. But you look at this group, Lakeven Smith, he makes his 26th consecutive start today at defensive tackle. The senior from Macon, Georgia, has 3 tackles for a loss, 2 sacks this year. That matches his 2004 total. Another senior, Titus Adams out of Omaha Creighton Prep. He has 7 tackles and a sack in his first 2 games. Then you go to junior Adam Carricker. He's already got 3 sacks this season, and that matches his total for all of last year. And then you throw in some backups. How about senior Wally Muhammad? This guy has 4 tackles for a loss, just tremendous speed. And newcomer, this guy, I've practiced his name too, Ola Daganduro. The JC transfer, 4th on the team in tackles. His strength of the team right now. This group could really cause some trouble today, especially for a Pittsburgh offensive line, which Dave Wannstedt admits was a little banged up coming out of last week's game. Through 11 games last year, Nebraska had recorded just 26 sacks. Already this group of Blackshirt, 16 sacks. So stay tuned for the game. It's coming up next here on Channel 7. For Matt Schick and myself, good afternoon. We'll see you after the game.
Lincoln, Nebraska, on an overcast Saturday afternoon. The Pittsburgh Panthers of the Big East, looking for their first win, challenge the unbeaten Cornhuskers of Nebraska. Memorial Stadium on a Saturday afternoon as you look down at another packed house. And here come the Cornhuskers, touching the horseshoe for good luck, and they will pour out onto the field. Work in progress, but a defense that appears to be back. This defense scored 3 touchdowns a week ago against Wake Forest. And for the Panthers, Dwight Eisenhower was president of the United States the last time that they played Lincoln. It's Nebraska and Pittsburgh coming up. Welcome to Lincoln, everybody. With Gary Danielson and Jack Arute, I'm Brent Musburger. Nice to have you with us. Normally when I come to Lincoln, folks say, we're going to win by how many? Now they're asking me, we're going to win it all. What about this Cornhusker team?
Well, Brent, Nebraska will win more games this year. They've got a favorable schedule, and they've got a defense that will make plays this year. Their front 7 will remind you of the old Nebraska defenses. It's on offense, it's still a work in progress. There's really not a difference maker at wide receiver, offensive line, or running back. Really, the difference makers are freshmen.
Pittsburgh has struggled. Lost to Ohio 0-2. What about the Panthers?
It's the flip side for Pitt. Their difference makers are specialists. Tyler Palko, Greg Lee, and their secondary. The problem with Pittsburgh is their offense and the defensive line have been getting manhandled. That will be the challenge today for Pittsburgh.
And Pittsburgh's without Rashad Jennings, a running back, injured shoulders out. Jack, Coach Wannstedt told us he's trying to inject some speed into this offense.
And he hopes it becomes a difference maker as a youngster by the name of Larod Stevens Howling will get a lot of touches today. You'll be able to see him right off the top of the bat. Why? Because he's the smallest at 5'7" and only 165. Coach Wannstedt says he's going to give him a lot of touches with the ball, and he says, let's see if he holds up under big-time college football pressure.
All right, Jack, Nebraska won the toss, and they deferred to the second half. That means that Pittsburgh will go on offense to begin the game. Underway in Lincoln. And it'll come out on the 20-yard Palko, who has thrown only one touchdown. Folks, that touchdown came on his opening series of the season against Notre Dame. Since then, 4 interceptions. Kevin Cosgrove, Gary, is the defensive coordinator working against him.
And Kevin Cosgrove believes he has mismatches at defensive end, and his 3 linebackers make plays. He will not blitz a lot. He feels that the advantages are in his favor man-to-man.
Pittsburgh comes up in the power I, using Raymond Kirkley to open the game. A little more experience than the freshman Jack told you about. On first down, fires complete to Lee. And Lee is out of bounds. We expect them to go up on top and challenge that corner early and often on that side. They will go after Green repeatedly. Number 30, as you see, the backs and receivers for the Panthers. Greg Lee is out of Tampa. Number 86, the Ameriprise lineups. There is the offensive line. Dale Williams steps in. He's a story. He replaces redshirt freshman Dom Williams, who is not here because of an ankle injury. There is Lee already with 1 catch. They come back with Kirkley, and they work the right side of the defense, if you will. Not a surprise here. And Green came up from the corner. Here's the defensive line. Moore, who got back defensively on that first play. Smith, Adams, and Carricker up front. Linebackers, Bradley, McKeon, and another Rube here in Nebraska, the younger brother. And in that defensive backfield, keep an eye on number 30, Green, and 2, Grixby. Matt Cavanaugh, the offensive coordinator, wants to challenge these 2 corners repeatedly. These are professional coaches. They will go right after you repeatedly. Back after Green's side, but the ball bounced and it'll be 3rd down.
It's a little bit of Matt Cavanaugh's offense right there. That was backup tight end Strong, number 14. A matchup to the outside. It was read well by Palko, but Palko fails to deliver a relatively easy throw.
Now Nebraska matches the offensive substitutions. They make 4 changes up front, trying to give them a little bit more speed here against an obvious passing down. Palko, the left-hander, is back. His offensive line, he's hit on the release, and if they don't give him the spot, it'll be just short of the 1st down. That hit by Muhammad.
Wally Muhammad is one of those specialists that comes in to rush on 3rd down on their nickel package. Nebraska only rushed 3 players this time. They played a lot of coverage behind it, kept everything in front of them, and a sure tackle, as you see. Muhammad does it cleanly and forces a 3 and out.
So it is 4th down, and now Grixby goes in as the punt return man. They make a quick switch, and there was movement up front, and if that's against Nebraska, if they move first, that's a 1st down.
And that was Tyler Palko as the blocking back that time, and he shifted under center. Good spot to use that. Tried to draw him off sides, and if you get him, you get a free 1st down, and it doesn't matter where you punt from, the 50 or the 45.
Randy Crystal, the ref.
Prior to the snap, offside.
That'll do it, 1st down.
It's a 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
And last night, Dave Wannstedt told us that he's going to have the whole package on special teams. You see Palko, he was in there as the blocking back. He shifts up, does a hard count, and draws them offsides very easily. Really surprised Nebraska wasn't in a defense safe because it was 4th and inches.
1st down in Nebraska territory, just across the 45-yard line. Power I look for the Panthers. Here comes Kirkley. Nothing doing, and he is jumped by number 90, Adam Carricker. He had 3 sacks.
Let's talk about what both teams need to do in this football game. They're ranked 95th and 99th in total offense. They have to find a run game, find a passing game, and win 3rd down, or in the instance before, win 4th down. Keep the ball. That's what they have to do on offense.
Negative yardage that time. The ball's brought back to the 48-yard line. Passing situation here for Palko. 1 running back. 2 wide and double tight end. Palko straight back. Goes that sideline again and put it in the hands of Darryl Strong. His first catch of the season for a 1st and 10. The DB was turned around, and they had licking their chops going after number 30. Remember, an inexperienced cornerback over there.
And it's going to be a flat and up by Darryl Strong this time, and deep help by Terry Green. Should have known he had a safety behind him and no reason to sink in on that play. That time, Kevin Cosgrove rolled the coverage to Green's side, and Green still didn't handle it. Now remember, he was a running back a year ago. He is not used to this.
1st down and 10. Here's Kirkley holding on the right side, and he is stopped. Number 34, Stuart Bradley, the Sam linebacker, who had a big game against Wake Forest. 8 tackles, 2 sacks, interception for a touchdown. He and Blake Tietke come in for that stop.
Pittsburgh shifted to an overbalanced line that time and caught Nebraska outflanked and ran the ball perfectly. A successful play with the formation shift.
2nd down and 7. Kellen Campbell is the fullback for Pittsburgh. They're going to search with Kirkley again, and the black shirts were right there and jumped on that play. Again, it is Carricker, number 9.
Carricker just stood his man up that time, kind of overpowered that Pittsburgh offensive line, just straightened it out like a Nebraska bench press, just kept his hands out and just came down the line and made the tackle. That's what I'm talking about. Pittsburgh must win some of these one-on-one blocking things at the line of scrimmage to win the game.
So here's the 3rd down for Palco. Split the backs, and he'll throw out of that formation. And he was under enormous pressure that time. Bo Rude, the Will linebacker, was in on the quarterback.
If you've got a problem at cornerback, what you can do is blitz. That time, Rude and the safety both came. Palco did not have any chance but to get rid of that ball and avoid the sack, stay in field goal range, and try to put 3 points on the board.
Josh Cummings, he's perfect so far this season. He's hit all 3. This would be a 42-yarder. He hit a 49-yarder in game 1 against Notre Dame, and he put the Ohio game into overtime with 7 seconds left. Here Josh Cummings with Brassel, the punter, down, and they block it. He's now 3 for 4. Nebraska football.
Coming right up the middle. Looks like a good snap. Let's see if he handles it correctly. Leans it toward him. Perfect. Kicks the ball. And is just eaten up by the Nebraska defensive line.
Zach Potter, number 98, being congratulated on the sideline for his blocked field goal. Will Callahan, of course, he's met Dave Wanstead before in the NFL. Callahan, an offensive special. Wanstead, a defensive specialist. And here on the first offensive play, the little I-back, Corey Ross, comes through. Zach Taylor, the JC transfer from the Butler Junior College in El Dorado, Kansas, checks in. Only 1 touchdown and 3 interceptions. Let's go back to that matchup of coaches, Gary. What do we expect from these two?
You know, when you talk to both of the coaches, they're both comfortable with what they're seeing from the other side of the ball. They both feel like they have things that will work. They feel comfortable, like they know the other guy.
Clayton Sievers switches over to the right side of the formation. Ross, the I-back, behind a pulling guard, picks up a couple of yards. And John Saunders, what's happening in Horseshoe with the Buckeyes and San Diego State?
Brent, Taco Bell update. You were there a week ago when Texas disappointed the Buckeyes, so maybe they're still feeling the sting. San Diego State, first play from scrimmage, Kevin O'Connell to Brett Swain, touchdown, 80 yards. They missed the point after and lead the Buckeyes 6-0. Brent.
Well, keep an eye on that one for us, John, as Rosser shifts back into the I-back spot. First down, play fake. Taylor, the right-hander, rolls and completes his first pass out of bounds at the 40-yard line. Our Ameriprise Financial backs and receivers for Nebraska. Corey Ross has been active. France Hardy played at Butler JC with Zach Taylor. He was his go-to receiver behind this offensive line, and they have been disappointed so far in the work of the tackles. Evoye and Famadu Thomas, they're expecting them to step up, and here is Ross. Second down, and the defense will have to guess. 4 down linemen you can see for the Panthers. Ross, hole on the left side, first down, and he slams into Pittsburgh territory down to the 44-yard line before J.J. Horn back to make the stop for the Panthers. This is the defensive front. McKillop, they've struggled with tackle. Smith and Tillman in there, and Salette. Linebackers, Horn, probably back to make the stop. H.B. Blades, their leading tackler. Thomas on the other side, the defensive back there. The corners are very good. Rivas and Josh Lay. Morrison Phillips also good at safety, but they have been asked to make too many tackles as the front 7 has not held the line. And now Nebraska on the move. And we're not seeing shades of a West Coast offense. We're seeing shades of a power attack here, as the wide receiver coming around on the end around.
That was Lucky. Wasn't that Lucky, the freshman?
They put Lucky over on the other side, and they brought him off the wing on an end around look. So he touches the ball for the first time here today.
All of these plays by Bill Callahan is scripted very carefully. A lot of shifting and motioning early in the game. It has really kept the Pitt defense off balance. That play was actually there and playable. You watch the tight ends shift, quick motions, a lot of things happening. Both tight ends going to one side and then usually a quick motion.
And a penalty flag thrown. All that movement going on. This is Big 12 officiating crew here. This is the same crew that worked that Saturday night game that John referred to in Columbus.
Prior to the snap, false start, number 85. He was covered up and he moved. 5-yard penalty. It's still second down.
Well, so you see Bill Callahan, who was the head coach of the Oakland Raiders, and on the other side, the former head coach of the Chicago Bears and the Miami Dolphins, Dave Wanstead. And Callahan now needs a big play. This is second down. They've got to go all the way to the 35-yard line of the Panthers here in the next 2 downs. Second down and 19.
2 self-inflicted wounds. Got him in reverse here.
Draw play to get some of it back. Ross storms across the 50, and you know, Gary asked Coach Callahan, hey, did you study any Miami Dolphin tapes to get a read on Wanstead?
Sure, absolutely. We looked at some Dolphin film from the last few years. Basically, Pittsburgh's defense is a carbon copy of what the Dolphins have done and what they did under Dave Wanstead.
And so Callahan's second year, 7-6 overall, 2-0 this season. As last year was a bad one, but this is a work in transition. When you install the West Coast offense, it'll take 3 years for them to get some of the receivers and other positions plugged in. Here's Taylor. So this will be well short of the first down on third down. J.J. Horn being very active at that linebacking spot. At the end of the game, we'll select a Chevrolet player of the game from each team. Chevrolet will make a $1,000 contribution. Dietz University's General Scholarship Fund.
Very conservative call there by Bill Callahan. Kept both tight ends in, only a 3-man route, all to the same side of the field. Really no opportunity to pick up the first down. He wanted to play field position early in the game.
It definitely looks like he's turning this game over to the defense and the special teams. And he has excellent special team, much improved. Sam Cook bangs that punt and see if they can put the Panthers inside the 20. Fumble! They've got him down by the 5-yard line. So the Panthers lucky to pounce on that ball as their outstanding sophomore corner, Rivas, put it down, and he's back all the way to the 3-yard line as Joey Robinson was back on top of him. So we've talked about the black shirts. Is the swagger back? We'll find out. He's only 5'7". Larod Stevens Howling. Already returned to kickoff, 95 yards for a touchdown, and now the freshman Wiz will be in that backfield with Campbell in front of him and Palco the quarterback. So Dave Wanstead did not wait, did not give him real good field position. They're coming out from just inside that 5-yard line. He has thrown the freshman to the Wolves in Lincoln. Here he comes. Slipping with that speed, elusive. Boy, that was was a good-looking run, and he was brought down at the 14-yard line. This was a fine 8-yard run.
And he has the speed is what Dave Wannstedt's looking for. He's right there, single back. You're not going to put him in to pass block. You're not going to put him in to block for the other guy. You're going to put him in to run. And actually, Stuart Bradley, number 34, if he doesn't trip him up there, the only guy left is Corey McKeon to stop that from going the whole way, and he wasn't going to catch him.
2nd and 2. Again for the first down. And this time, Green comes up to help the front. And there's McKeon again. Well, college football on ABC is brought to you by Chevy. The new Chevrolet is an American revolution. ADT, America's residential and commercial security leader. And Dr. Pepper, and your local Dr. Pepper bottler. Dr. Pepper, one taste and you get it. 2 runs and a first down, Gary.
Yeah, I like the fact that he's in the game. You can see a little different pace for Pittsburgh when he's in the game. But I think they really have to look at the total number of carries he's going to get in this game. They can't give him the ball 20 times.
Timeout has been called. So we will take a break. Palco wants to talk about it with Coach Wannstedt on the sideline. That attendance record dates back to 1962. By way of comparison, at Lambeau Field, where the Packers played, since 1960, they've had 335 consecutive sellout crowds. But the folks ever so loyal here in Lincoln, and the freshman trying to give the Panthers a lift, and has he ever? Running just shy of a first down, out of bounds at the 24-yard line. Tiki is there, and Jack, this freshman has given the Panthers a lift.
He may be small, but he plays big. Let me take you back 1 year ago when Rod Stevens Howling was part of the Greater Johnstown High School juggernaut. Broke all of the rushing records there. He's tiny, but you can see the way he cuts and he scats back and forth. He can be a weapon.
I'm sure he's got the Nebraska coach's attention upstairs and on the field. Palco gonna lob one. Jump ball incomplete. Grigsby had taken lead in that coverage. And John, what about Oklahoma and UCLA?
Well, Brent, the Sooners score first. A little misdirection here. Look at they're headed one way, go the other. Travis Wilson, watch the speed out of a couple of tackles. Then watch number 28, Adrian Peterson. Boom. Block right there at the 10 for the touchdown. 56 yards. Oklahoma leads UCLA 7-0.
Well, Adrian may not have gone to class, but he didn't forget how to block, huh, John? That was a devastating touchdown clearing block by Adrian. A lot of folks surprised that UCLA was established as a favorite in that game. The freshman breaks free again. Is he nifty? The Cornhuskers with their hands full as the corner, Grigsby, has to take him out of bounds, but it is another 1st and 10. That is 16 more yards now for Stevens Howling.
Look at the tight end is right here for Pittsburgh, and here's the outside man on the line of scrimmage for Nebraska. That's an overload that wasn't really handled well for Nebraska, and that's why this play, look, McKeon switches out, but then the speed pops out. That one, give again to Matt Cavanaugh. A change up in the formation was not aligned up right and properly by Nebraska.
Rushed for 1,875 yards a year ago in high school. He scored 32 touchdowns. Gary Danielson and Jack Arute. I'm Brent Musburger. Welcome you to Lincoln, Nebraska. We're at the top of the hour, and you can see a few Pittsburgh jerseys down there in the crowd, folks, but not many. It basically is your normal sea of red, despite coming off a losing season. The cheerleaders here bringing some enthusiasm for those fans who were at the Cornhusker, where we were last night, and enjoying the game here. 2nd down. And the Black Shirts with their hands full against this nifty freshman runner. 3 down linemen this time, and Palco under pressure, sacked. Brought down as they flop Carricker to the right side, bring him in, and he gets the sack.
That's one of those outside rushers that Kevin Costco believes can win one-on-one. That time Jay Moore was a defensive end, stood up to give the illusion of a 3-4, and then still had the stunning ability to come inside. But Carricker, a one-on-one type guy, can beat those offensive tackles.
The left tackle is Charles Spencer with his hands full on the edge 3rd down and 14 for the Panthers. The sliders to Palko's right. Spins him down at the 35. He had gotten off the hit by Wally Muhammad, but as he spun, down he went on the 35. The black shirts rise and hold as the Panthers passing game stalls this attack.
Nickel package. Wally Muhammad, number 55, comes in at one end, and Barry Turner, number 99, comes in at the other end. The pass rushing specialist into the game, and another sack for Nebraska.
Adam Grassil back to punt. One thing the Panthers have to be careful of is a block. Grigsby is back. On a run, puts it down, a dangerous grab by Grigsby. But one of the things that the return men will try to do here is to come up and make the catch, because you can get all kinds of wicked hops on this artificial turf, and it is newly installed. There's a reminder that Monday night, ABC, ESPN, and the NFL joined to help the victims of Hurricane Katrina with a doubleheader. Throughout the evening, in a special fundraising telethon, you'll have a chance to donate to the relief efforts for our Gulf Coast neighbors in need. 7:30 Eastern, Giants face the Saints. Then at 9, Redskins versus the Cowboys. Those of you in New York and the Gulf Coast areas will see the Giants-Saints game in its entirety Monday night, starting at 7:30 Eastern on ABC.
Legal motion again by Nebraska, getting ready to shift. It did not shift properly and flinched just enough.
False start. Number 88. Offense. It's a 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
Well, Wanstead and Callahan have both been in Monday night games, and here are their Monday night coaching records. Wanstead with Chicago and Miami, 7-10. Callahan with the Raiders, 2-3. Bill, of course, took the Raiders on to the Super Bowl, and they were beaten by Tampa Bay. Here comes Ross searching for daylight. Jack, this turf is a brand new installation.
And it's totally different, Brent. Gone is the high crown that Coach Tom Osborne wanted on this field. It's been reduced considerably, maybe because Bill Callahan wants to introduce that West Coast offense. But he wants to speed it up as well. Yesterday, they've moved several tons of sand. You can't cut artificial turf. So if you want to make it speedy, well, then you just add the sand.
That was interesting, Jack. After that, they watered that sand, and the field appears to be in great shape. And Ross barging for a first down. Tough run by number 4. Gary, what's your feeling? We were down on the field before the game. How do you like this surface here?
I was wishing I could have played on that. 9 years of playing on the old AstroTurf. It's a lot different feel. It slows the game down just a tad from the old AstroTurf, but it's a little quicker than the grass fields that we still see. You know, Corey Ross, he is one of those guys that is learning how to run this West Coast offense too. Whole different field, much more man blocking, has to stay with his blockers and read it a little bit more.
Play fake. Gonna probe deep. Incomplete. So he overthrew number 83, Terrence Nunn. And aerial coverage for the game, courtesy of the Outback Steakhouse Airship, Bloomin' Onion 1. The Outback Steakhouse Airship specializes in college football and PGA golf coverage. Look for the Bloomin' Onion at sporting events throughout the year.
Don't blame that too much on Zach Taylor, because what happened that time is Nunn got jammed. Once he got hit, he could never really get his speed going again. And when Zach Taylor threw that ball, he didn't know that he had to start up and go all over again.
There's a lot of confusion with Nebraska. They could not get the substitution pattern right, so a timeout has been called by Callahan's team. One of the things about the West Coast offense, it is complex. Timeout. Second down and 10. 2 minutes and 12 seconds to go in the first quarter. Pittsburgh and Nebraska are scoreless. The Cornhuskers had been favored by as many as 10. Earlier in the week, they came in undefeated, Gary.
You know, Brent, you talked about the complexity of the West Coast offense. It also is very wordy. And if you're new to an offense like Zach Taylor is, you know, you can go through spring ball, but it's a lot of verbiage in the offense, and he's struggling with that. You can tell.
And this was not verbiage. This was simply, I watched the sideline. 3-4 guys came out. One didn't know if he was supposed to be out. It was strictly a substitution issue.
They switch a lot lot of players, a lot of different formations, and right now they're struggling. And in practice, Callahan had them. I watched practice. They went over formation after formation after formation, and he wants them to break that huddle between 16 and 18 seconds so they can do all the shifting and motioning at the line of scrimmage.
Dane Todd is the fullback. France Hardy, the wideout. J.B. Phillips, one of the tight ends, and there is Zach Taylor, number 13, the quarterback. Slot is off to his left. On second down, got it complete, and there's his JC buddy Hardy, who gave up a first down. Had a first down, and he dipped back, and it was defended by Mike Phillips, the strong safety. He's telling him right now, keep going, don't come back.
Yeah.
Tapped him on the helmet.
Nice job here, though, by Hardy. Watch this ball's delivered right by the chin, catches it, thumbs together in his hands. Exactly the way you teach it, catches the ball. Then after that, he doesn't do anything you teach him. Had the first down, just go duck. Know what the play is designed to give you, and then go and get it. Don't try to, this isn't junior college anymore. These guys are going to tackle it on those type of plays. Hardy, interestingly, is a junior college player, but he's a 3-year player. He's going to have 3 more years at Nebraska, not 2.
Yep, big difference. He'd have had it. But it is second down and inches, so in effect, you could argue that Nebraska in this passing attack has the third down. Let me check myself on that, as they changed the down marker across the field just after the measurement. So it is third down and inches here. Hardy goes over to the sideline, but the confusion on this sideline is with the substitution patterns, and even Dane Todd prior to that snap was not too sure what they wanted to do.
Well, this is the one in the huddle now as a quarterback. You just say, Nebraska, you're a Nebraska offensive lineman. We're going to pick this up.
Kurt Mann, the center. They pound right straight ahead, and there's the young fullback. That is Cody Glenn, folks. He's the fullback of the future. He's out of Rusk, Texas, and he picks it up. He's got physique of a big-time running back. The backs of the future here are Glenn, 34, and Lucky, number 20.
And in that situation in short yardage, they laid him up at tailback, and he just powered his way that time. Both of them in the West Coast offense can play at different spots. Fullback and tailback sometimes are interchangeable.
Here is the pitch out wide to the I-back, and number 30 is back there at the I-back. Green, who started as a defensive corner, just got his first carry at I-back. How about that, folks? And we check in with John Saunders.
Well, Brent, Steve Spurrier down 7-0, but he goes for it on 4th down and gets a touchdown. Mike Davis. It was 7-7. Alabama has just added another score to lead 13-7. And Notre Dame just getting a touchdown pass to tie Michigan State at 7.
Corey Ross comes in and replaces Green. Pounds. And a first down. Helmet rolls free. Thomas, the Sam linebacker, over to make the stop. That was sort of interesting for them to run a defensive back who's under enormous pressure from the Pittsburgh.
I don't know if he has practice time to be able to do that. If you're learning to play corner, looked like there was a late on-sportsman call in this.
Foul on both teams. Number 65 red, number 9 white. The penalty's canceled.
That's Greg Austin of the offensive line, and J.J. Horn, the linebacker.
You know, Brent, that play, though, is a real speed play, and Green is one of the fastest Nebraska players. He's a 4.3 40 guy, so maybe that's his only play. That's all I can think of.
Well, maybe they didn't want to trust Marlon Lucky, the other linebacker, the freshman phenom.
He slipped once on a play that was open.
1st and 10. Ball at the Pittsburgh 32-yard line, and Ross is blown up in the backfield. Number 50, Rashad Duncan, in to make the stop. So Green doing a little two-way action here today, Jack.
Well, and it should be no surprise, Brent, when if the name sounds familiar, it was his cousin that made a lot of records back here. Ahman Green, old number 30 back in 95 through 97. So maybe it's in the genes. Maybe that's why Tierre Green is able to
scat the way he does when they hand him the ball on offense.
Now, he's from nearby Omaha Benson High School. Never played corner up in high school, but he did play safety. And he was a good one, we are told. Second down for Taylor, and the Nebraska offense can throw the swing. Ross out wide. Slips a tackle inside the 25-yard line. Third and short coming up. Tez Morris, the senior free safety with the stop.
Well, Zach Taylor's running the offense exactly the way Bill Callahan wants him to do. Don't force the ball. He had a throw possibly downfield, but he also had Ross wide open for an easy pitch and catch. He took the easy throw, and it paid off now for third and short.
So for Bill Callahan and the Black Shirts, a low-scoring game shaping up here in Lincoln. Pittsburgh and Nebraska at the end of the first quarter are scoreless. Nebraska trying to win for the third consecutive time as we open the season. Second quarter here, and this will be a 3rd down and 2. The freshman fullback back in that eye-back look. Here comes Glenn again. Fumble, bobble, got it, cut back. Did he get the first down? He bobbled the ball, and that appeared to cost him the first down. So very, very even so far. But you said at the top of the broadcast, both teams looking for an offense and haven't found one.
No, and all the warning signs are still there. Pittsburgh has given up sacks, and Nebraska has not been able to run the ball consistently and still are making mistakes, self-inflicted mistakes, and that's why both offenses are struggling.
We'll see what they can do to try to keep this going right here. They'll come out now with a 4th down and 1.
Just like that play right there. That's a first down if they just make the handoff.
Cody Glenn again. Barges, breaks a tackle, and is short of the 15-yard line, and you can hear the buzz in Lincoln. Folks like this freshman from Rusk, Texas, as Rivas, the corner, makes the stop.
You think these fans read their scouting reports on new freshmen and stuff? I mean, you can just pound it right up in the middle right there. You got a big running back, and he just makes those defensive backs and corners and linebackers pay the price in those plays. You know, the West Coast offense is a little bit of finesse, but you can't get caught up in playing finesse football. You have to pound it.
All right, now we see that Mike Stuntz is in the game. He's a left-handed thrower. He was a quarterback once through an option. He keeps it that time, coming around. So they sent him in. He has been a safety, and they have been practicing that play, but they didn't bring him on the end around. Against Oklahoma when we were in here, Gary, he threw back to Eric Crouch, and he put that game away against the Sooners 4 years ago.
Yeah, that was a big play of the football game that Nebraska really had troubles moving the ball against the Oklahoma defense. That play right there was a designed pass. Problem was Pittsburgh was ready for it, and Brent, we might know why. Huh?
Absolutely. We'll tell you that story here as inside shuttle, and it is eaten up as Corey Ross is hit by Chris McKillop. Now, let's go to that story. The offensive line coach, Dennis Wagner, was speaking at the Big Red Breakfast in Omaha yesterday.
Too many pancakes.
And one of the things he said was that to get ready for stunts and some gadget plays. Well, folks, the Pittsburgh coaches, they can read too, and the players, and they saw that. So I'm sure that they yelled number 16, number 16 immediately. And I'm sure also the coach Callahan was not too happy about seeing one of his assistant coaches quoted as giving away some inside information. Oh, that was a bad pass right there, and could have easily been picked off by Josh Lay, the senior corner.
That was great coverage that time. Josh Lay anticipated the slant. The receiver went out, and really Pittsburgh and Paul Rhodes, their defensive coordinator, thinks that his corners can handle the Nebraska receivers, and he was right on that one. The receiver broke out 2 steps and tried to come in on the slant, and Lay beat him to the spot. That was great coverage by Josh Lay.
And now it is Jordan Congdon, their freshman, with a 26-yarder, one of 9 freshmen who has seen action for the Cornhuskers this season. Hooking. No good. They miss a short one and they stay scoreless. So Congdon, who was 5 of 5 coming into this game, just missed for the first time.
If you like good defensive back play, watch Josh Lay on France Hardy. Goes outside, man-to-man, punches it with one hand, looks for the ball. He makes a good play, but it could have been a great play if he catches the ball.
Now, from behind to Kirkley, and here's your first down. Power eye look for Paco. He's going to throw it on first down. Pump fake. Going to go left deep, and Grigsby did not let the wide man, Derek Kinder, who's starting for the first time. He's out of the Buffalo, New York area, and Grigsby had him wrapped up.
One of the things that Pittsburgh feels they can do is throw the ball deep against the corners. What happened on that one? That ball was underthrown, and if you talk to Matt Cavanaugh, he says the pass that Tyler Palko struggles with the most is the deep ball.
And Dave Wanstead wanted interference, and when I saw that replay, I'm not too sure that he's not right. Once the ball's in the air, you got to get off it. And Grigsby was on him, and that's what Dave was complaining about down there. Second down, quarterback draw. Palko isn't going to go any place because Jay Moore, number 44, is on top of it. Here's your Aflac trivia question. We know that Bill Callahan, we mentioned it earlier, he took the Oakland Raiders to a Super Bowl. Now, how many Super Bowl head coaches have returned to the college ranks throughout the years? Can you think of any others besides Callahan? Took an NFL team to the Super Bowl, then came back, as Bill did at the start of last season. Took the job here in Nebraska. It is third down and 14. Pittsburgh continues to struggle. They haven't done much on third down. They're 0 for 3. This is their fourth third down of the game. Hit from behind and sacked. Ball comes free. He's down. Crystal was right there on top of it as Wally Muhammad, coming in as the pass rushing defensive end, has created havoc here today.
That's the third sack for Tyler Palko in this football game, and you can see that nickel package is giving trouble. The nickel package defensive ends, that's Matt Cavanaugh, the offensive coordinator. He's telling Tyler, you don't have a lot of time, throw on rhythm, move up in the pocket.
Let's see if the Huskers pour in on Grassley here. They've got him backed up in his end zone. Dropping back, they're going to play field position on this punt. Grigsby, the corner, will field it at the 48, crosses midfield, looks alley, got it right side across the 40. Down to the 38-yard line and out of bounds. And John, have the Buckeyes jump back in on San Diego State?
Indeed, they have. Brent Troy Smith here calling his own number. Will go 14 yards for the touchdown because of the missed point after for San Diego State on their touchdown. The Buckeyes lead by 1, 7-6, just getting underway in the second quarter. And Michigan State again. Notre Dame unable to stop them through the air. 14-7 now, the Spartans with the lead.
All right, John, we'll keep an eye on that one. In South Bend, the unbeaten Irish, they beat this Pittsburgh team, and they beat them up pretty good in the second quarter. Ross not going anywhere because number 54, Charles Saleh, gets it done. And let's take a closer look here at our quarterback, Zach Taylor.
My favorite movie is Zoolander because I'm a big Ben Stiller fan. It's the music that gets me fired up before the game. I just tend to listen to any country music. My favorite pro sports team is the Indianapolis Colts because I've been a huge Peyton Manning fan ever since I was in the 6th grade.
Well, Zach Taylor went to Wake Forest for a couple of years before he moved to the Butler Junior College in El Dorado, Kansas. Threw for 29 touchdowns a year ago. Here he is trying to get one here. And caught at the 5-yard line. A beautiful catch by Terrence Nunn, who caught 4 passes a week ago. This for 36 yards, a well-thrown ball.
Comes down, post route. Inside man goes across, post route to the outside, and right there lays on the play, but does not make it. Thinks he has it all the way, but Terrence Nunn goes up and makes that catch, and he got it up with his hands again. Reached up and grabbed it, didn't catch it in his stomach. Good throw by Zach Taylor.
There were several Texans on this Cornhusker roster. Corey Ross is the eye back down here, close to the end zone. See what Callahan wants to do. In the red zone. Ross is hit right there before he can across the line of scrimmage at number 44. Brian Bennett, a man from New Jersey who has impressed the coaches in some practices, makes the play for Dave Wanstead's team.
Pittsburgh really has 5 almost interchangeable linebackers. They feel great about them. Bennett, Blades, Thomas, Clint Session, and J.J. Horn. And you saw Bennett, who didn't start the game, come in and make that play. They ran right at Bennett, and nobody blocked him on that play.
Well, now they've sent a fullback out there. Dane Todd offset to the left, and they'll run back. Ross cuts off of it, just in the end zone. Scratching and clawing close to the 1-yard line. That'll bring up 3rd down for the Huskers.
That was a great read by Ross that time. That is the stretch play that you expect your tailbacks to make. Get it speed to the outside, let your offensive linemen push those guys by and cut behind to make positive yards.
Now Todd switches over to the right side of the formation. They'll run behind the fullback. Ross not going to get it. This is going to bring up a 4th down. Decision time for Callahan, as again HB Blades, this time defensively.
That is the tough thing to take if you're a Nebraska fan, watching this offensive line not be able to knock anyone off the ball. And I'm not talking about anyone is in a great rush defense. Pittsburgh has been having trouble stopping the run for a couple of years.
This is going to give Pittsburgh a huge, huge lift if they can hold here. Nebraska missed a field goal on its last possession. Now they come back with 4th down. Here's Taylor rolling, cutting, touchdown Nebraska. Zach Taylor rolling to the right, sees daylight and cuts to the left for the first touchdown on this Saturday.
Really had no choice. Great read by Zach Taylor, because Pittsburgh did an excellent job of picking out everyone. Fullback Dane Todd was the #1 player to throw to. He was covered, and Taylor in the end zone.
Congdon on to attempt the extra point. Cook the holder, he's the punter. The snap from Lane Kelly was perfect. So the junior walk-on put it right on the money. It's now 7-0. And watch the quarterback again, just as Gary described it. Morris cut far to the left. Daylight touchdown. Nebraska scores the afternoon's first touchdown as we take a look at our Nissan Drive summary. And Nebraska struggled as the quarterback keeps it himself on that 4th down. They only had to go 39 yards. Remember, they forced Pittsburgh to punt, had good field possession.
And they had a 36-yard pass on that play. So that was the quarterback, Zach Taylor, having a very good series on that touchdown.
Out of bounds, and this will be a penalty against the kicker. In our Pacific Life game summary, the black shirts have come in with 3 sacks of Palco in this game. Muhammad, number 55, has wreaked havoc. And Gary mentioned the pass, and there it was to Grigsby. And then on 4th down, he scrambles in, and the Huskers lead it 7-0.
Yeah, it wasn't Nebraska knocking anybody off the ball. And on 4th down, they resorted to a little bit of trickery. And Zach Taylor has been making very good decisions, but he's had a little better pass protection than Tyler Palco. I think that Pittsburgh needs to move Tyler Palco out of the pocket a little bit. They don't need to make him a sitting target like that. A little bootlegs, a little rollouts.
Well, that's what Wanstead said he wanted to do when he talked to us last night. We haven't seen much of that so far. 1st down and 10. Straight handoff to the freshman. And the youngster, Stevens Howling, comes up the middle before McKeon makes a stop. At one time, remember, Stevens Howling was moving this pit attack, and then they went back to the pass, and the black shirts teed off on Palco again. So you can see his numbers extremely impressive here. As again, they are shorthanded. Rashad Jennings back home with an injured shoulder, did not even make the trip.
Pitt has 73 total yards, and Stevens Howling has 49 of them.
2nd down. Slip that time, and it'll be 3rd down. Well, earlier we asked you the athletic question, who besides Bill Callahan, if anybody, has come back to the college ranks, says taking the team to the Super Bowl. Folks, there are 4. George Allen, Bobby Ross, Forrest Gregg, Bill Walsh. Callahan is the fifth one, the one we've talked about. The only one, however, who ever won the Super Bowl was Bill Walsh, and he did it 3 times. And he beat Forrest Gregg in his first Super Bowl championship, 26-21 in Detroit. That, of course, is up in Pontiac, and Detroit will be the site of the Super Bowl game next year. 3rd down. Palco trying to roll, and the Huskers won't let him. He's down for the 4th time. And Carricker, number 90, who also is having a big day defensively, brings him down at the 27-yard line.
That's Adam Carricker's 2nd sack of the game. Wally Muhammad does too. But to run one of these bootleg plays on a passing situation is a little bit questionable, because you know those front guys are looking but nothing but the quarterback. Carricker just didn't even go for the fake. He went right for the quarterback, and it was too hard to handle.
Adam Grassil and the Blackshirts are suddenly taking charge of this game. Cornhuskers up by 7. They're in on Grassil, but he gets it off. Grigsby back at the 29-yard line. Slips the first gunner to the 42-yard line. There's a flag down on the play, back by the punter, however. It is back down at the 22-yard line, and they'll sort it out.
You could see it.
So it is against the Panthers on the holding call. One of the areas where Callahan and Nebraska have improved dramatically this year, the punt return game. They averaged just a little over 3 yards a punt return a year ago, and you can see that Grigsby has been doing a little bit better than that here today. The ball is at the 43-yard line, and the offense is out on the field.
Pretty good field position. Why risk it? Your offense moved the ball last time. Why make a mistake and have something go wrong? Looks like Bill Callahan's going to take it right there.
Five and a half minutes to go in the second quarter in a low-scoring game here in Lincoln. The Huskers up by 7. Hardy is out to his left.
2 tight ends have been the norm all game right there.
Twisting to the 46-yard line. Corey Ross. College football on ABC is brought to you by Nissan. It reminds you to shift the way you move through the world. Aflac, ask about it at work. IBM, become an on-demand business. IBM can help. And Napa Auto Care Centers. Napa, get the good stuff. You look down on the campus here in Lincoln, Nebraska. One of those places where if you're a college football aficionado, you need to come see at least one game. Everybody should see one game in Lincoln. Some of the nicest fans in the world. Ross on that draw play. He's got the first down and then some. He is out of bounds at the 40-yard line as they move into Pittsburgh territory again with that 14-yard run. So it is not the flashy passing game, but it is more that solid running, go deep occasionally passing game that Nebraska is featuring here today.
Here's the freshman offensive tackle, Murtha, right there. He was going to play in this game. Watch the job he does. Number 76 comes in the game. He is getting rotations at both tackle spots, and he did the job on that one. Highly thought after player, Murtha.
Out of Hutchinson, Minnesota. He was the #1 tackle prospect in the country, and he's been slowed by injuries. Got him. Hardy's run into. That'll draw a flag, no question. Well, I don't see. There it is. The hat came first on that sideline as the defensive back, Josh Lay, ran right into it.
The linesman that time had already thrown his flag earlier in the play, so he didn't have anything else to throw but his hat. This ball, again, was late thrown by Zach Taylor, but you can see it. Ball is thrown slightly behind, nothing to do but to push him. And when you only have one flag, you throw it early, and then you throw your hat late.
Yeah, pretty easy. So we got lots of things here for them to sort out.
That play was so wide open. Zach Taylor is going to kick himself for not throwing that ball earlier and putting it out where only his guy Hardy could get it.
And it's an illegal formation by the Huskers. And they're going to offset
Yep.
So a break for Pittsburgh.
The linesman
saves him
called
15 yards, and the linesman, once he threw his hat, as Gary told you, he'd already made the call. And so the offense of Callahan remains a work in progress.
Absolutely.
As Nebraska shoots itself in the foot.
Well, the schematics are there, but the execution and rhythm is not.
Ross is behind Taylor. Picks his way, and another penalty to the 30-yard line. Got a first down, but again, there's a penalty flag that is thrown on the Pittsburgh side.
Chris McKillop just turned around to the referee and said, good call.
Offense.
He was
Number 88.
right.
It'll be a 10-yard penalty. Replay first down.
Chris McKillop lined up at left defensive end. That's right exactly where the play was run. He turned around right after the play and looked and saw the flag coming right at him. It's just so odd to watch Nebraska play this way, isn't it, Brent? I mean, they used to be such a machine on offense.
Yes, I agree.
I mean, it just seems they...
in fact, Gary, I don't think I've ever seen them struggle inside the 5-yard line. They always come in here and pressure with the quarterback rolling out right or left. And
maybe
bang,
maybe they need that crown in the middle of the field to start running the ball.
Get back downhill. First down at 19. There's the play fake by Taylor. Gives him plenty of time. Going to throw back cross field for Hardy. No, incomplete. And that was a tough throw. Mike Phillips was a safety. And boy, when he moves outside that hash on the right side and throws back to the left, that is a tough collegiate throw right there.
Both linesmen on both sides of the field threw their flag that time. You wonder if it's another illegal formation or was somebody lined up offsides. Yep. Wow, that just gets to be embarrassing when you can't line up right time after time.
Offense. The penalties decline. Second down.
That's third or 3 or 4 times they've lined up wrong for a penalty.
All right, next Saturday, regional doubleheader. See either Iowa, Ohio State, or Colorado, Miami. Then Notre Dame, Washington, Georgia Tech, Virginia Tech. So that's our doubleheader look next week. Here's second down and long, and Nebraska getting 5.4, but many of them on that one pass play to Grigsby, and Taylor going to throw it again. Juggled and incomplete. I'm sure they'll wave this one off. Probably should have been caught over there. Thomas jumped on it defensively on that far side.
No difference makers out there at all. No one in the specialist wide receiver, tight end, running back, quarterback that really scares you if you're Paul Rhodes and running that defense for Pittsburgh. They just look out there and say, let's just run our defense. We don't worry about anybody. We think it can match up all across this field.
Third and 19. Taylor has good time. Middle slant, incomplete, and very, very well played.
Beat him to the spot, didn't he? Like he knew the play.
And then got himself injured in the process. I believe that's Phillips. He did a good job on the play, and now he has injured a leg as he goes down. Let's check it out, because he was the defender over there.
He was, and he was going for the football. So if there was a collision, if there was anything with the receiver and him, he has every right to go to that football just like the receiver.
We'll take a break and we'll sort it out, and we'll take a second look when we come back. Unfortunately, folks, this does not look good for Mike Phillips. We'll show you the replay. The ankle twisted awkwardly on this play. It does not look good.
Here's Nate Swift right here. He's the guy that's going to run the route. He doesn't run a great route, and you'll see Phillips kind of close in on the play as he comes into the picture. Here's the receiver kind of goes like this, and what he needed to do is come across very square on the play, and that allowed Phillips to close in on the receiver. He's going for the ball, and then his right ankle just gets bent sideways.
Phillips, a sophomore out of Warren, Ohio. He played at Warren Harding High School, and an awful lot of good football players through the years have come out of Warren Harding. Certainly we've seen many of them with the Ohio State Buckeyes, and we wish Phillips the best. He's an outstanding safety. for Pittsburgh, and this is going to be a major loss for them.
Yeah, he was a starter last year as a corner in this football game against Nebraska, and that gives them more guys that can cover back there.
So Dave Wanstead will adjust defensively. We'll take another break. John, and here Mike Phillips, the aircast on. It seemed rather obvious that could be a broken ankle. As we looked at it, obviously we don't want to speculate on an injury, but the crowd here in Lincoln giving him a big ovation as he left the field. The Nebraska medical staff was out there to help out, and we are back now and ready to go with a 4th down, and Nebraska will be punting. Sam Cook back to punt it.
All right, let's go. Let's go.
Fielded by Rivas, and he slips the Gunners and out of bounds. And a penalty flag down at the 23-yard line, far side.
Well, Rivas got ice water because those Nebraska Gunners were all over him. He had dropped the one previous, but he was looking to make a play on that, and what usually happens in this situation when the guy gets out of a sink and running the ball is one of your own return blockers makes the wrong type of block.
Blocking the bag, number 28, be a 10-yard penalty, 1st and 10.
So coming up now, just inside of 4 minutes, Valvoline halftime show. John, Craig, and Aaron will be along to have the highlights. And first-hand account from the LSU Tigers. An amazing 4th quarter comeback against Arizona State last week inspired folks down Bayou Way.
Well, let's see if Matt Cavanaugh can figure a way to get his best player, the most important player on Pittsburgh, Tyler Palko, some time to throw the football.
Straight handoff with the freshman, breaks into daylight, 35 to the 43-yard line, and tracked down by Bullocks, safety Daniel Bullocks. But that's 30 more yards for the freshman.
Mike McGlenn does a great job right here. Offensive tackle coming out. The ball is run strong side. He comes out and switches off. Gets that shot on Bo Rude, and that's what broke the play. He goes out, and then Big McGlenn turns back and gets Rude right at the time to spring it.
The kind of power running game that Wanstead wants to bring.
Absolutely.
To the Pitt Panthers. 1st down and 10. Delay of game. Yep. The crowd saw that one coming.
They sure did.
You could sense it from the crowd down below. You could hear the buzz as the seconds began to tick off. And another mistake.
It was one of those plays.
False start, number 75. It's a 5-yard penalty. It remains 1st.
It was one of those plays where Tyler Palko had 2 plays at the line of scrimmage and never got it out. And how about our feature guy from Jack in the opening, huh?
Averaging almost 10 yards. 79 yards here. But Pittsburgh being shut out. Sliding catch short of the 1st down, but across midfield on the receiver. Lee doing a good job here for the Panthers on this play.
You can see when Tyler Palko gets back, throws the ball with timing, his offensive line can handle it on 1st and 2nd down. It's on 3rd down passing situations that are tough, and ooh, that ball was close to hitting the ground on that play.
There is instant replay, but that would be very difficult to find anything conclusive on that. 2nd down.
They're going to look at it.
They're going to take a look, though.
They are going to take a look.
So we will go back. That's the buzzer going off down below. Then instant replay wants to look at it.
Again, called completed. Has to be irrefutable. Visual evidence. Square in or out. When he turned it over, you couldn't see anything on that one at all. The umpire and the line judge both looked at each other and agreed, looked at each other and said he caught the ball on the field. See the ball is on the ground right there. This is going to be very interesting. And you know, in the NFL, they would not call this completed. They would say that the ground helped him with the catch.
Well, you look down on this sellout crowd in Lincoln, Nebraska, and the views are being provided by the Outback Steakhouse Airship, the Bloomin' Onion. Captain Tom Whidden is at the controls up there. He was with us last Saturday night at Columbus, Ohio, high above Memorial Stadium here. The Cornhuskers lead it 7-0 over Pittsburgh. The Panthers in Lincoln for the first time since the 50s.
It's kind of fun guessing this, to tell you the truth. It really is. If I was the replay guy, what would I do? I'd say
after review,
not enough.
It's determined the pass was incomplete. It hit the ground.
The ground, you could see that ball just move in his hands, and that's what the referee saw, the upstairs referee saw.
So Gary and the replay official disagreeing here, folks, for the first time today. Gary would not have turned that over, but the man with the TiVo and the communication equipment, again, it's far different than the NFL. Second down coming up for the Panthers after that incompletion. They've had 17 running plays and 7 pass plays. Stevens Howling has been their offense here today.
Well, they just corrected it.
80 yards already.
Now they'll have to go get corrected the clock and move the clock back on the incomplete pass.
Protection holds this time. Fires incomplete. And Grigsby had coverage on Lee.
That ball took just long enough for Grigsby to get back on that play. Lee was open, ball kind of hung, stayed in the air, and Grigsby was able to get up there and whack that thing down.
Win 5.
Yeah, win third down. So far, it has not been good for Pitt.
Del Sardo is the receiver to the right. Green, the converted running back, has him in this third down. Falco check first, wants to set the screen, and it is blown up by the Black Shirts. Pittsburgh will have to punt. Corey McKeon, the Mike linebacker, the man in the middle, who had such a huge week against Wake Forest, comes up with a big play.
Barry Cryer, number 94 that time, inside tackled, nickel specialist rush guy, I think deflected this ball. Comes in, he's got a stunt, gets his hand up on the screen. Let's see if he does. Just tips the ball and then reacts back and gets it.
Gressel. Fielded inside the 10-yard line. None daylight. 35-40. Can they block the punter? He gets a piece and slows him up, and he's out of bounds. Nunn back for his first return, breaks free, but credit Gressel with saving a touchdown. He held his ground, got a hand on him, slowed him up. Otherwise, Nunn would have marched in for the touchdown.
Watch how he catches this ball above his head. Both gunners have a shot for him. One miss, two miss, and then punt coverage has no chance to make a play, and Nunn has only one guy to beat. Gressel does a good job of buying time, forcing him to make a cut, and that allows for the tackle.
62 yards on the return. I'm not sure that they had a 62-yarder all of last season. The defense is Nebraska's best unit, no question. Special teams may be second. Offense, work in progress. Taylor sacked back at the 44-yard line by McKillop. Chris McKillop. Now his younger brother Scott is a backup linebacker here. And they had an older brother who was a heavyweight wrestler at Slippery Rock. So this is a football playing family out of Pennsylvania, the McKillops.
That play took so long to develop and get open that time that Zach Taylor really had no one to throw the ball to. He looked and looked and looked, and by the time somebody broke open, he was already, McKillops had him eaten up.
Inside of 2 minutes, there's one of the battling McKillops.
Let's take a look at what happened on this play right here. You see this guy's going to come out here, and out. Whoops. Comes out, ground. This guy comes in, and it takes forever on the play. Slow. Real late, Blake. By the time he gets open on the play, it's too late for the sack.
Well, the Huskers were hoping to get a second score before the intermission. Panthers are hoping to hold them right there. But 1:45 to go. Nebraska has one timeout left, and Pittsburgh has two. And Taylor over there getting the play jack from Coach Callahan.
And Brent, you would think as quarterback of Nebraska, you'd be the big star in your family, but not for Zach Taylor. He admits that he deflects the conversation to his siblings. His sister Quincy.
Jack, I think we've got the wrong video up there of Stevens Howling, the youngster who has done such a great job here for Pittsburgh. And as a senior in high school, he rushed for nearly 2,000 yards and 32 touchdowns. He has been the key, and we apologize for that. But Stevens Howling deserves extra credit, too, for the performance. We'll get back to Jack with that story right after this play. Second down for Zach Taylor. He's got a lot of time. Can't find a receiver. Going to be sacked on the other side of the 50-yard line by Phil Tillman, the senior defensive lineman. Okay, Jack, just pick up that story.
Well, let's tell you a little bit about Zach's siblings as you take a look at the family photo. His sister, Quincy, tearing up the soccer fields with her play. His little brother, Press, the quarterback of Norman High in Norman, Oklahoma. But it's his sister, Catherine, right there in the middle of the family picture he's most proud of. Catherine is an award-winning Special Olympian swimmer.
Yeah, that's such a nice story. The father, Sherwood, there, he played at Oklahoma. He's defensive back. He later coached the defensive backs at Kansas State. And that inside draw play with Ross that crosses the 40-yard line here.
Really a tough play for Pittsburgh that time. They didn't have enough players on the field. Still got the stop. It is just the mistakes that Nebraska's making. The plays are taking forever to develop in the passing game and keeping Pittsburgh in this football game with no offense at all for Pittsburgh.
Punting unit is on the field here with 34 seconds to go. They would have a long way if they tried to fake it at 19 yards. If you're wondering where that first down marker is, Rivas, who bolted past the Gunners the last time. I think the Gunners thought he was going to make the fair catch, but he never did. He's standing back at the 10-yard line with now Nebraska running down as many seconds as they can here. They'll back hook up an extra 5 yards, and he'll try to drop it inside the 20-yard line. 11 seconds when the play clock runs out. So they'll take the delay of game, run the game clock down to 11 seconds left here in the half, and bring it on back. So the walking on Lane Kelly again is he just got his scholarship here, folks. It's his third season as a long snapper, and you can watch him. He'll put it right there. Cook is ready. Doing out of Creighton prep. Beautiful snap right in his hands. Hangs it high, going on into the end zone. They're not going to let Rivas attempt to come back. It'll come out here with 4 seconds left on the clock. So the Nebraska defense pitching a shutout, and that Nebraska defense in 2 games, folks, has allowed only 10 points, and they've scored 24 themselves. 16 sacks coming in to this game. And Gary, how many do they have in this game?
They have 4 sacks.
That's 20 sacks in less than 3 games, my friend.
And that was a area of concern. They have players up front now that they believe in. They got good matchups against the Pitt offensive line, but Pitt's still in this football game. I mean, not playing at all. No offense at all, except for the freshman who has 79 out of the total 88 yards.
Well, John and the gang will be along to tell you about the Louisville comeback. And that was good against Oregon State. We'll hear about Michigan exploding, how the Buckeyes are doing. That's all coming up here at the half on ABC. Here in Lincoln, Nebraska, shutting out Pittsburgh 7-0 with Gary Danielson and Jack Root. I'm Brent Musburger. Terrence Nunn has supplied the 2 big plays, if you will, for the Cornhuskers. This one from Zach Taylor set up the game's only touchdown. It might have been worse, but watch the punter hold up Nunn after a 62-yard return here, and help arrives, and this drive stalls out. So right now it is 7-0, but Nunn doing what he can. And Gary, what's your feeling? Let's start with the Pittsburgh offense, because since that opening drive or so, they've really stalled out, except for the freshman running back.
Yeah, the problem for them has been they really don't feel confident throwing the football in the pocket, and that's what Tyler Palko does best, throw in the pocket. So when you're calling plays, you're really at a disadvantage. They just can't handle the front four.
Yeah, Gary, let's take a look at the possessions for the Panthers, and this will tell you the story. 85 of Pitt's 87 yards came on the first 2 drives of this game. That blocked field goal was a big play.
It sure was. And you know, Pitt had it going with their young running back a lot, as you said, but they haven't been able to build off that. No play action passes, no bootlegs, nothing really they can hang their hat on.
And you're making the point that Nebraska's passing attack, they're kind of slow getting into the routes.
It's taken forever to get guys across the field, real long plays, play action plays, and it's really bothered Taylor, who's throwing the ball pretty accurately, getting time to throw the routes.
Adam Gressel will kick it off here for the Panthers as Nebraska will receive to start the second half. And to go to the onside kick, and Rivas picks it up at the 49-yard line to start the second half. So Dave Wanstead and the Panthers come up with a big wrinkle to start the second half, the onside kick. And I thought it was going to be Gressel. It was not, as you could see. And man, Rivas pounces on that football. Yeah. And what a big decision here by Wanstead and the Panthers. They give a huge lift here, Gary.
Brandon Mason, number 27, the young running back, did a great job of knocking the Nebraska player, blocking him out of the way on the play. Big heads up, big play by Mason on that one.
Now, can the Panthers move after the successful onside kick? Come back with the veteran running back for 9 yards, and so that was Raymond Kirkley. Jack, what the coaches have to say?
Well, no surprise. Coach Wanstead said get back to the basics. We got to tackle on defense. We got to get chunks on offense. But I found it interesting when I talked to Coach Callahan, asked him what he thought. He said, I preached to all my players to play the second half smart. And he said, Jack, one of the things we need to try and do early when we get our first possession, go for the big play on first down. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, and they were not smart on the kickoff to start the second half. Coach won't be happy about that. Second down and short. And the veteran with a hole on the right side blown up. And he crosses the 25 to the 23-yard line before Blake Tiki makes the stop. That is a 20-yard run for Kirkley.
I tell you, you get this ball and you block at the line of scrimmage right there. Kirkley, the bigger, the experienced leading rusher from a year ago, gets in there and gashes Nebraska. I think the Nebraska defense wasn't ready to come out here.
I agree with you.
They just don't have their focus.
It doesn't even look like the coaching staff was ready on what to call.
They might still be eating hot dogs thinking that.
Oh, Kevin, get that staff together upstairs. First down and 10. Coming with the fullback. They were ready for that. Nothing doing as they come to the fullback. Carricker is there. Our Pacific Life game summary shows you some of the numbers. Not too brilliant on third down there, Gary, for either side.
And that was the key to the football game, I thought, for the offenses to be able to make points. Remember, the 95th and 99th rated offenses in the country, and you could see how they struggle on third down. 0 for 6 and 1 for 7.
Second down. 10 yards needed for the Panthers. High formation. Murphy, the fullback, from the pocket, steps up and hit from behind. Ball on the ground, and the 25 incomplete pass.
Carricker again coming around the corner. One of the 3 great defensive end rushers for Nebraska. Adam Carricker has had his way to the outside. This play again, Palko had to pump the ball one too many times, and that's too long for Carricker. Let's see if this ball came loose before he threw it. Oh, that's a free hand right there.
Well, they're liable to stop it.
Yes. He did not come forward with that ball.
They were able to look at it. They haven't stopped it yet. So the replay official agrees with the call on the field. Third down,
there it is. There it is.
And you know what? The audible might have allowed the replay official to communicate. Palko stepped away because nobody was making any movement down there, like the beeper had gone off.
You know, the NFL guys are so used on these close plays to get up there and snap the ball. Pittsburgh on this play wasn't ready. Well, that ball is out before he throws the ball, in my opinion. Let's see if I go 1 for 1 or 0 for 2.
Pittsburgh right now is dialing New England. They want the wording on the tuck rule.
Carricker wraps that ball up, and you can see as his arm comes forward, there's no football in the hand.
Ball is down at the 25-yard line. And again, you know, it is up to the replay official. All these plays are being reviewed. Fans sometimes think that, oh, how come they didn't review it? They are reviewing the entire game. Now, this one, they're stopping play. They want to take a closer look and make absolutely certain that it was an incomplete pass. And, of course, if there's indisputable visual evidence, the ball will go to Callahan and Nebraska. So this could be a huge turning point in this 7-0 game right now. As Wanstead and the Panthers, you can see Dave over there stalking it. He knows he's at risk on this one. That this one is very, very close.
The 3 defensive ends for Nebraska have been tipping it in this defensive favor.
Here we go, Gary.
Play stands is what he hit. Stands is called.
So an incomplete pass. Palko coming back out now on 3rd down.
Well, we'll have to get a clarification on that one, won't we? Because that one looked like he had the ball knocked out of his hand to me.
Tom Brady be glad to talk to us on the phone. 3rd down, of course, Callahan was the victim of that tuck rule in that snow game in New England. Here he doesn't get the ball. Down on the 25-yard line, so we'll watch that unfold after the game. 3rd down now, Palko on an option look, and he puts it into Berkeley's hands, and the black shirts were there. Shanley, number 8, up to defend one of the backup safeties.
Nebraska that time looked as if they were going to blitz. This was an audible call by Palko to go to the option, and Shanley, who was in the middle of the field, number 8, just tracks it from the middle and makes the tackle as the free safety. Good defense.
Josh Cummings trots out of the field. He's had 1 block. This is a 38-yarder. Grassel will put it down. The block pressure came from the right side of the defense last time. Long enough. And Pittsburgh's on the board after the onside kick. They march down. They survive an instant replay scare, and Cummings kicks a field goal. Well, did some of you expect a closer game, or did you think the Cornhuskers were going to blow Pittsburgh out? It's a 4-point game right now at the bottom of the hour. 7-3. Gary Danielson and Jack Arute. I'm Brent Musburger. And remember the last time that the Panthers kicked it off? It was an onside kick. The ball is on the tee for Adam Grassel. You better believe that the front 5 for Nebraska, ready in case they tried. Very unlikely is that they'd go back-to-back. Here's the kickoff. This is going to be fielded at the 5. And an alley for Green to the 20-yard line. Ball was down. The linesman right there on the call. And college football on ABC is brought to you by Chrysler. Inspiration comes standard. Allstate, proud sponsor of the Bowl Championship Series. And Singular, raising the bar. The capital of the state of Nebraska, the tallest building in Lincoln, although after they finish this new scoreboard that's a work in progress,
it's close.
Maybe that will be the tallest in the city of Lincoln. As I look out there, and by next season they will have that replay board. We'll get a chance to show that to you. Sam Bryant has replaced Phillips at safety. Unfortunately, the word from the sideline, Mike Phillips did break an ankle. It is confirmed. And Horn breaking out to the 40-yard line. 20 yards for the I-back, the 5'6" senior I-back. And he's had 10 career 100-yard games coming into this, and that is number 11. He's now at 103.
Brett, you haven't called H.B. Blades much in this game, and this time Dane Todd, number 41, fits him up, running the ball right up the middle against the middle linebacker, and is get blocked by the fullback for this West Coast offense.
Ross stays in. Too wide out to Zach Taylor's right-hand side. See, Ross is ready to go again. They block that front to the 41-yard line. The offensive line under fire here in Lincoln, trying to come up with a better performance. And the Cornhuskers, this was their drive chart. They had a missed field goal before the touchdown, but you know, they had so much better field position and didn't take advantage of it.
Well, that's one thing that pops up right away, that last one when they got the ball on the 30. But the other thing that pops up, Brent, only had the ball 5 times in the first half. That's very unusual in a college game. You usually get it 7 or 8 times.
There is own 45, basically playing with half the field.
He's got man-to-man to the outside on both corners.
Good corner, might point out. Taylor steps away from traffic, going to take it off short of the first down. Tripped up at the 45-yard line. There's one of the battling McKillips. Chris has been active.
And that's been Dave Wannstedt's strategy with this defense. McKillips was a safety when he came, a fullback, a linebacker, and now he's a defensive end.
There is the new construction outside here on the north end, and the new scoreboard being erected. And there it is. Talk about a replay screen. Gary will have to stay here, see if they can get 3 pictures up there for us.
They get more than that.
That is going to be some impressive board. I think the board alone is about $5 million. And the pass short of the first down. Very, very well defended. Rivas. That's what, sophomore corner. Good
that's
job.
What really drives you crazy if you want to watch a lot of West Coast offense. Those plays, those short catch plays that used to turn up and make first downs, now the guys come up and make the tackle, and you look very foolish throwing those plays.
Speaking of Sunday, down the road, number 25 will be playing for somebody in the NFL. He was outstanding as a freshman. Walt Harris recruited him. Harris, of course, now the coach at Stanford. And Cook is back to punt. He's done a good job, but this one's going to go. No, they've got to it. Short of the goal line. It is down at the 1-yard line. Just an outstanding job that time by Brandon Rigoni. Young Brandon Rigoni. It's down there. Well, Kevin Cosgrove, the defensive coordinator for Nebraska, trying to hold the fort. We had him mic'd at practice. Coming up now, the practice sounds with the defensive coordinator.
How you doing, Coach? Doing good, guys. Ready to have a good one today. Yep. Right, Sloss? Slossenberger. Slossenberger.
Stevens Howling on the field for the Panthers, the freshman running back in the I formation, and just inside at 1-yard line, battling to get a little field position. Now, Kevin Cosgrove, he calls plays like this, folks. Listen to the practice sounds.
Give me 22 personnel. 22 personnel. Give me a pair formation. Joker up. Give me joker up. Joker up. You twos, pay attention now. Give me an under Mars. Under Mars. Mars. We good to go on that? Nothing changes for you guys.
Here they come. I don't know if it's under Mars, Joker. I don't know what Kevin wants.
Takes you 2 years to speak to Nebraska.
Good coach talk, though, Kevin. We like that. There's your power eye, and here comes the freshman dancing and slamming over there with Stuart Bradley, the Sam linebacker, and Adams, the defensive tackle. So Bradley slams into him, and Muhammad is out there barking away at this defense. The black shirts with a 7-3 lead right now. They have not given up a touchdown.
In a feeling here that Dave Wannstedt would just like to get some space to be able to punt that ball, because Tyler Palko started off hot, but has done nothing since.
That was to Greg Lee, that 21-yarder. And they can't get back to their start. 3rd down and 7. Changing up with that crowd.
One-on-one.
Grigsby has got him on that side. He'll throw deep middle. Complete as he hits Eric Gill, the tight end. He had Lee drawing coverage on that side. 26 yards down the middle for a first down. Big play by Palko.
Here's the safety that he's reading. At the snap, the safety goes out wide. So what happens is he just goes to the tight end and right down the middle hits the play. Safety goes wide. Watch the safety drip. There's the tight end down the middle. Make the catch. Beautiful read by Palko.
And Gary, that's their first 3rd down conversion of this game. And it was big. 1st down and 10. Ball out to the Panthers 30. Here comes the freshman trying to stretch the D, and somehow he slips that first tackle.
Wow, that was impressive.
Very well.
That was impressive because the middle of that line was blown up that time, but Howling got outside. Stevens Howling got outside and made another guy miss.
Tony Dorsett came out of Pittsburgh, and I watched him in his first game against Northwestern, and I had forgotten that Dave Wanstead was a senior on that Pittsburgh team, and Dorsett made a huge impact. He just led the Panthers all over the Wildcats, and you see a freshman running back like Stevens Howling in a Pittsburgh uniform, and your thoughts immediately jump to the great Dorsett. At that time, your thoughts jump to the black shirts. Carricker was in there again along with Bradley. Carricker, number 90, is having some game on the edge here
Sure
for the
is.
Huskers.
That was a nice stunt that time by the defense for Nebraska. They lined up, and then at the snap, they moved. And that blocking assignment was not able to hand up. You see Carricker, nobody touches him until he gets right in the face of the freshman.
Third down for Pittsburgh. But they only need 3, so they can run or pass. They show power I here. He's going to throw, but there was a whistle just prior to the snap. The line judge on this near side, he's been very busy. Now Wanstead's out there barking a little bit at the 35-yard line.
Prior to the snap, false start, number 45, 5-yard penalty, and it remains third down.
Eric Gill, he's not happy with his tight end. In fact, he's very unhappy.
Yeah, he moved. He cut that big pass on third down for him, though, just a while before. But self-inflicted wounds drive coaches crazy, especially when it's third and short. Now you're back to third and long.
Given the assistance an earful. Third down. Nebraska shows Shanley blitz. Short drop, slant, short of the first down. And this is going to be fourth and very short, I believe, depending on the mark right here. And now Wanstead over there on that sideline. This is very tough territory. If they don't make it, he's got to make the call here. They will measure first. I thought, and the yellow line indicated that they were just short, but it is close. Now he's talking upstairs. Kavanaugh and the rest of the offensive coaching staff to see. You know, you're an underdog in this situation. You put a field goal up on the board. But I know in his gut he wants to go. Sometimes that's not the best decision to make. But Palco certainly ought to be able to stretch for that. Get in behind Joe Villani, the transfer from Bucknell, who is the center. Let's see, everybody's looking down there to see.
The way Nebraska's offense is going, you got to punt this ball, don't you?
Here comes Grassel. And he's really unhappy about that penalty. He is going to jump all over the Glenn. He's
he must have thought it was Mike McGlenn that moved on the play.
Grassel back to punt. Boom's a beauty. None. They'll let this one go, and it'll be down inside the 5-yard line. On the 3-yard line, Cox down it right there. Tough field position. Dave Wanstead, defensive line coach originally. Kennard Cox, hope it's not a hamstring, and he's the one who downed that ball inside the 5, receiving attention on the sideline.
I'll tell you, Dave Wanstead was upset, but 94 yards of field position exchange on the punts is not bad.
Exactly. Coming out now from the 5-yard line, draw play with Ross, and the Pittsburgh defense eats it up. Thomas, one of the defenders there, along with Blades, and a reminder that invasion is coming. Something is happening to this family that will change their lives in ways they never imagined. It's not what you think. Invasion begins Wednesday night at 10/9 Central. And the TV Guide saying Invasion could be the best new drama of this season. So that's worth watching Wednesday on ABC. Second down at 11. 7-3. Nebraska with the football in the lead. The shadow of their own goalposts here. Taylor going to throw out of the end zone. Got to get out of there. He just does. Got it back to the 3-yard line, and the crowd breathes a collective sigh of release. Thomas Smith was closing in.
Yeah, I thought Thomas Smith, he's going to say, I had 2 points in my grasp, and the quarterback shook me away. Inside, right there. There he is, Thomas Smith. Let's see if he has a shot for 2 points on the play. Throws away the lineman, comes in, got him right in, good grasp, and lets him get away. That's a 2-pointer.
You know, we haven't mentioned Matt Harrion, who's unable to play, was injured last year in the Missouri game. And one thing that you need in this style offense is a tight end who can get open in that seam down the middle. And that has been a problem. Harrion still unable to play, broke his leg from the end zone. Fire complete, but you see it just short of the first down. But it did give them a little breathing room as Mark LaFleur makes the catch for the Huskers.
That's another one of those West Coast offense throws that if you don't throw it accurately, you don't pick it up the first down. You completed it, but if that would have been up a little higher for LaFleur to catch the ball and run with it, you have a chance to do it. That's what, you know, the Steve Youngs and the Joe Montanas were so good at, running the offense.
Cook had a 76-yard punt against Wake Forest. The Huskers and their fans would love to see one of those right now. He'll be punting out of his own end zone. Lashes it. Revis on a retreat, and here it goes. He's done it again. What a punt. Picked up now by Revis. Fumble, recovers it at the 9-yard line. Little schoolyard play, but I want to tell you, the punter, Sam Cook, just put an 84-yarder up there. And that probably, I'm holding up because there's some good punters here. He had the third longest with the 76-yarder. And we'll get confirmation that well could be the longest punt in Nebraska history. That was something, folks.
I don't know if I've ever seen 3 straight punts where the 3 offenses starting their plays inside the 10-yard line. 3 straight times, 3 punts, and the offense starts inside the 10.
The second longest. I'll bet Kyle Larson, was that his name, who was here? George Hill, our super stats man, will check the record book. That's second longest in Nebraska history. Palko on first down. Gonna go deep. Wants the lead. Battle Grigsby's got it. Lee at the 40. Trying to pull away from Grigsby. And they will wrestle him down at the 17-yard line. And an unbelievable play here by Pittsburgh coming out after the 84-yard punt. They get 73 right back.
Big punt, big punt, big punt, big pass. Let's look at the Chrysler passing playbook right here. It's just a takeoff. Throw the ball deep. You see Bullocks inside the safety. No help outside. Ball is thrown nice and high. Receiver Lee has a chance to adjust for the ball. And then he doesn't see from the left side. The other defensive back comes in to make the play.
Tiedtke coming from that other side came hard. Now the freshman. He batters across the 15-yard line. Well, Palko has had some beautiful long passes. Hadn't been consistent, Gary, but a couple of beauties.
Well, Tyler's happy we waited on this passing chart until he threw that last pass. Because he has struggled a little bit. He started off quickly, but you can see we waited just long enough to get this one right here to change a day that was a little bit of a struggle into something that he says, all right, we got a chance to put some points on the board.
Downfield, he's been good. 26, 32. How about him getting those yards back after that Cook punt? Now second down. And they come back with the veteran running back. And he pounds it inside the 10. So Kirkley trying to pick it up. And here comes third down for the Panthers. And on third down today, they're only 1 of 9.
And that, as you mentioned before, that Nebraska defense has been very stingy inside the 20. They need another stop because their offense is just producing nothing.
Here's your third down. Then Wanstead will have to make a decision with 2:40 if they don't pick it up. Third down and 3. Bucas brought the play in. Kirkley didn't get it. Black shirts hold again. Fourth down. Jay Moore makes the stop. What does Dave want to do here? Field goal? He sends him on the field. He'll send Josh Cummings out. Try to make this a 1-point game. Upset again with the offense bogging down.
You think anything that had to do with that? The last time Tyler Palko had a play like that, he threw an interception for a touchdown in overtime. That Dave Wanstead was very conservative on that call.
Cummings' first field goal of the game was blocked. So this will be his third attempt. Got it across 27-yarder to make it a 1-point game. So Josh Cummings on the year is 5 of 6. And he's made it a 1. Remember, he put that game against Ohio into overtime, and then they lost it on the interception. 1:44 to go in the third.
What coaches usually stress is the results you usually get. When I talked to Matt Cavanaugh earlier this week, he said, I've been really working with Tyler Palko on his deep throws to throw the ball up higher so the receiver had a chance to adjust for it and make the play. You can see how well he did it.
Well, here tonight at 7:45 Eastern, you folks in Pennsylvania and back east, Florida State and Boston College. The Noles, remember, they struggled in that opening loss, or I should say opening win against Miami. Then they came back against the Citadel, so they are 2-0. But tonight will be a major test against Coach O'Brien. And we look down, and these aerial shots courtesy of our friends at the Outback Steakhouse, proud sponsor of the Outback Bowl down in Tampa. The Bloomin' Onion one up there. And, they cover sporting events all across the country. So here before another sellout crowd in Lincoln, Nebraska, the Cornhuskers are clinging to a 1-point lead. They just cannot get Bill Callahan's Westcote offense on track. And they are struggling mightily here today.
Both teams have only converted 1 third down in the game. 1 for Nebraska and 1 for Pittsburgh.
Grassel, deep leg. And here comes Green coming out. Trying to make something happen. Out to the 25-yard line. Minute and a half here. Zach Taylor, and of course, stay tuned for the Thrifty Carbonell post-game report. John Craig and Aaron highlights and analysis of all the games. This is a big week tonight. Florida and Tennessee. Who do you like in that one, partner?
I've been riding Florida on all my interviews. We do a lot of it, and so I might as well stick with Florida.
Here, Nebraska.
Let me tell you what I'd do if I was Bill Callahan. I'd go back to that short passing game on early downs. Quick, get it in out of the hands, hit the running backs in the flats, tight ends in the flats. Don't take so much time throwing the ball.
Right back with Ross.
I think they lined up improperly again.
There's a flag thrown on the far side of the field. So
you could see the Nebraska coaches very upset when the flag came down, and they have to assume it was on Nebraska.
Illegal formation, offense. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
You would not expect this from a high school team after 3 games, to be frank.
Yeah, and over a year in the system.
Correct.
Now, our Star Watch is we focus in on number 4, Corey Ross, on our IBM Star Watch. And number 4 rushed for 19 times, 103 yards, averaging 5.4. Taylor hit on the release, incomplete.
Too much time, took too long. No rhythm in the passing game.
Saleh was in on him. Saleh, I should say.
The Pittsburgh defensive line now is feeling more and more confident as they feel that when they rush the passer, they have a chance to get to Zach Taylor.
He's got second down, 15 to go, ball from the 21-yard line.
Rhodes defense.
This 2 tight end offense has given nothing to Nebraska the whole game. They've got nothing out of it.
4 rushmen. Threw high badly that time as he tried to get it outside Clayton Sievers, and it will be third down for Nebraska.
Gotten just no stretch with the 2 tight ends in the game, and Pittsburgh's corners are so confident covering the wide receivers that the linebackers are being able to jump on all those underneath routes.
Josh Lay, senior corner. Ian Revis, without Mike Phillips, remember, broke his ankle in the first half. Sam Bryant has filled in for him here, and Nebraska's been unable to do anything about it. Third down, Taylor, middle, high, short for first down, and they'll have to incomplete. They wave that off.
Yeah,
and so they will be forced to punt. HB Blades delivers the blow, and you know, for one of the few times since I've ever come in here, I hear a little smattering of boos about the offense right now. And I can't remember hearing that. Well, you know, maybe it's happened before. I just haven't done the games, but I don't remember that.
They led the nation in rushing, what, 10 straight years or 20 years in a row or something? They're not used to watching this either.
And players shaken up on a play down at the 20-yard line. And Rivas has been replaced by Joe Del Sardo as the return man. I think the situation here is that Coach Wanstead wants to make sure he catches the ball. He's not pleased with some of Rivas's decision making as the punt returner, and he took him off. And remember, Cook's last punt was that 84-yarder.
Wonder if they'll go for the block also on this type of play without Rivas in the game, if they don't try to get a block themselves.
Tried to get in.
They went for it.
Del Sardo going to let this one bounce, and it'll die at the 27-yard line. Well, we've talked a lot about Dave Wanstead, who was the coach midway through last year of the Miami Dolphins. First he played at Pitt, went down to Oklahoma State, then out to USC. This is an assistant, worked under Jimmy Johnson, and then went to the Dallas Cowboys, and they won a Super Bowl. Then up as head coach of the Chicago Bears after that, and down to the Miami Dolphins, and now back to his alma mater as head coach. He told us last night if it had not been his alma mater back to his home area, he would not have taken the job. But he said he's delighted to be back, and the 9th former Pitt player to become a head coach. Johnny Majors, his old coach, is here watching on the sideline. First down and 10. Stevens howling, and not much doing this time, only a yard. Tiki is there. Tiki deserves a lot of credit on that long pass play to Lee, because I'm not so sure that if he had not been coming hard from the left side or the far side of the field, that they would have been able to stop him from going on into the end zone.
Yeah, and he was a surprise starter for this team. He won the job. A former walk-on just won that starting job.
Now Grigsby off of Lee a little bit on the right side. Palco looking back under pressure, and basically had to throw that one away. He was trying to get back out to the right side. Smith was in on top of him. Derek Kinder in his first start was the wideout that time, and not Lee. Third down and 10.
And here comes in that nickel rush team for Nebraska. They bring in Barry Turner, number 99, and they bring in Wally Muhammad, number 55, and they sink Adam Carricker, number 90, a lot of times into tackle. This time they're just using a 3-man line.
And Muhammad, one of the 3, number 55. Deep set for Palco. Going to swing over in that area on the rush, and they will be forced to punt. Could not get the first down, and again, Tiki, number 25, is in there defensively, playing a fine game as the free safety for the black shirts. And, Pittsburgh offense tries to get something going, but they wind up having to settle for 2 field goals. Still, all in all, they're right in it as we head for the money quarter. Fourth down. Adam Grassel to punt it for Pitt, and let's see if Nebraska tries to get heat on him. Tiki backs off. Nunn back deep to return. They set a return. Line drive, punt, and it goes out of bounds down inside the it's right at the 10-yard line. And so Gary, you know, all in all, for what we've said about the offense of Pittsburgh, they're right there. You know, you got to give Wanstead a lot of credit for that onside kick to start the second half.
He is playing the game, understanding it's going to be low scoring. Right. He's gaining confidence in his defense. And, you know, I've been there as a quarterback in games where nothing is working. You can't handle the pass rush. Your receivers can't handle their corners. There's not a lot of plays you can choose from. Both teams are really struggling to find a play to really latch onto right now. This formation, though, just has really slowed Nebraska down, in my opinion.
Nunn switches over to the left side here. And here comes the little fella. Shouted at the first down marker, Corey Ross, and Sam Bryant, the safety. And there is a penalty flag, so hang on again. We've got a penalty flag thrown. It looks like it's thrown downfield, too.
I think it's on France Hardy, number 7, wide receiver on that play. And I don't know if they tried. I don't know if they called it blocking below the waist. No.
Holding. Number 7, offense. It'll be a 10-yard penalty. Replay, first down.
Yeah, I knew they called it on him. I couldn't figure out what, but he was out there and he blocked his man. There was no doubt. Number 7 to the outside, one-on-one coverage, option play, takes a while. He throws, and let's see if he reaches up and grabs the guy.
Just by the foot.
Yeah,
I
well,
mean,
just a little bit. Just a little.
If you get him by the foot?
Yep. No need to do that, and put you back.
That is the 6th penalty against the Huskers for 36 yards here. Draw play. Pittsburgh does a terrific job. That's Salette does it. Let's check in with John.
Brent, for the singular All-America Player of the Week update, Reggie McNeil's going to get some votes. 80 yards here to Irvin Taylor. Part of 349 yards passing and 5 touchdown passes. Also ran for 100 yards and a touchdown. Text the word vote to 87654 now on your singular phone for your ballot and a chance to win a trip to the national championship. Brent.
Yeah, John, he's an outstanding player. It's overlooked because of Vince Young's awards at Texas. There's a penalty on this play, and Taylor is sacked by H.B. Blades inside the 5-yard line on this 2nd down, and the umpire just winged it. Flag right in there.
One-on-one coverage to the outside, couldn't win. Taylor had to pull it down.
Offense, number 85. The penalties declined. 3rd down.
This is where he wanted to throw the ball to the outside. Look at the great coverage. Josh Lay is right on him. Taylor needs to know in that situation on a quick throw, you got to throw it anyway and avoid the sack.
Zach Taylor on a long 3rd down play. He passed for 10 yards here in the 2nd half. Constant shifting and not doing much with it. And
yeah, that's a big risk.
9-yard line.
Big risk for that.
They put it into Phillips's hands, and the crowd growing even more and more restless.
And they had an illegal formation again. Two men covered up each other. Illegal formation for sure.
He'll go to 4th down.
Downfield, number 85.
You want the ball.
Number 85 was covered up, which made him ineligible.
One tight end covered up the other tight end on that last shift. Did not back off into the backfield, and when the other tight end goes out, he's ineligible.
Well, we get word from George Hill that Mike Stiggy, back in 1992 against Oklahoma State, punted one 87 yards. That's the longest. Now, Cook has had an 84-yarder. He did pass Kyle Larson, who had an 80-yarder against Texas. So they need another one here. And off the side of the foot. This is going to give Pittsburgh a very short field. Lundstedt wants it marked up here at about the 35. Now Dave is marching it off. He's down to the 32. He continues walking, and now he's into it with a field judge. Field judge has marked it at the 40. Look at Lundstedt. Are you kidding me? That ball was out of bounds.
Dave's arguing with the wrong guy. It was the referee that made the call.
The referee points at the fellow on the sideline as to where he wants it.
Still good field position, though. He's got his football team in this game. And he's got the crowd almost on his side.
Now they come out with the freshman. Stevens howling. He's Palco's back. They give him Campbell as a blocking back. Going to try the youngster. Stretches the D. Tries to get the corner. Good gain on 1st down. This is going to put him in 2nd and short before Green can make the play over there.
It's been that unbalanced line that Pittsburgh has had a lot of success with, running to the wide side of the field. Wouldn't be surprised if Kevin Cosgrove, defensive quarterback coordinator for Nebraska, starts blitzing from the field to try to stop that.
So Stevens Howling well on his way to a 100-yard game against Pittsburgh's defense. Could get it here. Stop short. And then keeps on twisting for the first down. Hard to bring down the first time you hit him. I'm very impressed. He's 5'7". He does not go down easily. The first man has been unable to bring him down much today. And of course, again, if you weren't with us at the top of the day, Rashad Jennings injured his shoulder and did not make the trip, so he didn't start. Kirkley started at running back, but Coach Wanstead told us last night that Stevens Howling was going to get a big look, that he brought some speed. And he's had it. That's right at 100 yards for him now. They give him 3 yards on that, so he's right at 100. He gives some back. He's under 100 again. And John, what about Miami and that dogfight with Clemson, my friend?
Well, Brendan, may wind up being the Pontiac game-changing performance of the week. Here's the update. Clemson with the lead, as you said. Kyle Wright, 8 yards to Quadron Hill. Nominate your Pontiac game-changing performance at ESPN.com. Keyword Pontiac, as Miami now has a 13-10 lead. Brian.
John, did you see how nicely he put that ball in his fullback's hands? That's the old Miami attack down there. Now it's second down for Pittsburgh and long. Now goes straight back, fires left side, incomplete. A little miscommunication there with Derek Kinder. Let's check in with Jack.
Well, Brent, earlier this week I had a chance to visit with Tyler Palko, and I asked him to name the most significant game of his career. He didn't talk about some of the victories. He talked about this game 1 year ago, where in the first half he threw 3 picks. He said, Jack, I was too uptight. I was pressing. I forgot the most important thing about football, and that was that I can't win it on my shoulders, just to go out and play ball. Right now, he's relying on his running back and his leadership to try and bring this Pittsburgh Panther team back to take a lead.
With the wind at their back, just a few yards would set up Josh Cummings to put Pittsburgh on top here. Let's see what they come up with on 3rd and 13. Threw behind the running back, I should say the wide receiver, who never looked back. A little miscommunication.
And he missed the read because it was a corner blitz, and Greg Lee did not see it. If he'd have turned around and caught the ball, he would have had at least 8 yards and maybe make somebody miss and score. Corner blitz, Tyler Palko read it perfectly. Greg Lee did not.
Now here comes Josh Cummings. Pittsburgh trailing by a point, 7-6. He's kicked 2 field goals. He had his first attempt blocked. This is a 49-yarder, but the wind is at his back, folks. He's got a little breeze down there. On its way. No good. Nebraska holds on. 7-6. Cummings now 2 of 4.
These blitzes are designed to fool the quarterback. There's the corner blitz coming at Tyler Palko. Here's the guy that has to cover Greg Lee. He should have stopped right there and caught the ball. Watch what happens. Palko reads the blitz, throws the ball to the spot. Greg Lee is the one who's fooled. The guy runs right by him, and he doesn't see him.
HB Blades and the Panther defense getting ready here. Now Ross is stopped. You know, we talked to HB about playing middle linebacker at Pittsburgh. Here's what he said.
Tough, smart, aggressive player. You know, you have to be. Yeah, you have to take no prisoners. You know, anybody that comes into your zone, into your area, you know, it doesn't matter if it's a receiver just running a route. You know, you have to knock him off, knock him on his ass.
So there you have it. Son of Benny Blades, a one-time Miami Hurricane star, and went on to the National Football League. He's the man at middle linebacker here. And the Cornhuskers are having a terrible time trying to move the ball as Thomas is there. So
yeah, back-to-back plays by Thomas. Great job.
Our Pacific Life game summary. Now, the Nebraska defense has been just outstanding. 4 sacks in this game. Haven't given up a touchdown. And Taylor diving in for the game's only touchdown. And Palko with some long passes, but the Panthers can't get into the end zone. They've settled for 2 field goals, and that's the difference. Now on 3rd down, Taylor going to take off. He's got the first down. Tough run to the 45-yard line. That's an impressive run by Zach Taylor. And, of course, the crowd here loves it when a quarterback takes off for a tough run. Shades of Eric Crouch, Tommy Frazier, and the rest of that game.
Well, that's now for the game. Now, Pittsburgh and Nebraska combined 3 for 24. Nebraska just made their second third down conversion of the game. Pittsburgh has only made 1 the whole game, and that's why it's 7-6.
Now they're starting to move the ball across midfield, and Gary, I know you asked Bill Callahan, what's he looking for in this West Coast offense, and here's what he said.
We look for consistency of performance and communication. Once our players begin to communicate what they see and what's at the line of scrimmage, and once we have everybody on the same page, the consistency of what we're doing is going to show up.
And they have not been consistent here today. They've made innumerable mistakes, and as a result, it's a 1-point game. Pittsburgh with a chance here, and Ross stepping for the first down. He's got it. So it'll be first down for the Huskers, who are trying to finish it off. And again, your fellow Thomas in on that play.
Yeah, he's been a force in this football game. It seems like Nebraska has really circled Blades number 51. But Brian Bennett and Darren Thomas, the other 2 linebackers, have really had their way in this football game, along with McKillop, number 41, to the outside.
First down and 10. And Taylor on the draw play to the 40-yard line. And, you know, Gary, you also asked quarterback Zach Taylor, what does Callahan stress to you as the quarterback?
Making good decisions. You know, I think as long as you're effective and you don't turn the ball over and you keep your team out of minus yardage plays, you know, you're going to have a chance to win, especially with the defense we've got and, you know, the great running back and offensive line that we have.
And you take a look when they have not turned the ball over here, so it is second down for Zach.
Neither side in the whole football game, and it's 7-6.
And now Taylor changing up as the play clock down to 3.
There.
He slips. Whistle. Obviously tangled up with a foot. There was a penalty flag on the play as Taylor was pulling out.
Penalty flag on the play.
Prior to the snap, false start, number 65 offense. It'll be a 5-yard penalty, remains second down.
There's the Nebraska possession chart. For the last 7 possessions, you can see they punted 6 times and only once 28 yards on it, and then they punted.
How about the top one? 6 plays for 8 yards.
And second down and long now for Taylor.
They like the matchup up with Lay up at the top of the screen.
Penalty flag thrown again.
And I wonder if they're going to get an illegal.
Intended receiver. And the line judge.
Yeah, they're going to get hands on the receiver that time, like a pick play, I believe.
Offensive pass interference.
Yep.
Number 83, pick play. Repeat second down.
That's Terrence Nunn on the pick. And reminder, Thursday night the Connecticut Sun pulled out a dramatic OT win, tied the Sacramento Monarchs 1 game apiece. Tomorrow at 4 Eastern, join ABC in Sacramento for Game 3 of the WNBA Finals presented by Capital One. And here a 1-point game, and Nebraska's offense is in reverse. They're on the other side of the 40-yard line, and they have 8 penalties for 51 yards. They now have a 2nd and 28. The shuttle pass on the inside. They get a few of those yards back. And how about Oklahoma and UCLA out west? John, what's happening?
Well, Brent, UCLA had opened up a 20-10 lead, like they might run away with it, but then Adrian Peterson, some hard yards here, 10 of them for the touchdown, as Oklahoma climbs right back in it, trailing just by a field goal. They're still in the third quarter there, 2017. Brent.
Good one there. And here it is, an offensive struggle. A 1-point game, only 13 points scored, 7-6, Nebraska leading Pittsburgh. Third down. Taylor under blitz pressure gets hit on the release, and the defensive back got interference because the ball was underthrown. Had the ball been thrown properly?
I don't know about that one. I thought that he was trying to intercept the ball.
That may be true, but the reason why he got it was the receiver slowed up to try and reach back for the ball. You may be right. Let's take a look.
The ball was very poorly underthrown, and I thought he'd get a chance to intercept this ball. Blades gets Taylor right in the chest. If anything, I thought it was offensive interference on the play.
Pass interference, defense, number 25.
Wow.
Cut off. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Dave Wanstead is out on the field, and their field judge getting him back.
And that was third down on that play also.
Automatic first down and the 15-yard penalty.
Boy, I just didn't see it that way at all.
Well, I thought it was just pure luck because the ball was underthrown into the wind. Take a look at this. I honestly thought he was on him.
Look at him trying to catch the ball. Well, I just thought he was catching the ball, and it was the offensive guy who had him wrapped up. Personally, I didn't see that as offense at all. Defensive interference.
Again, you may be right, but the reason why it happened is the ball was underthrown.
Right.
So we're trying to make different points here. First down and 10, and stumbling is Brandon Jackson as he comes across.
Huge call in the game if Nebraska can make points out of it, though.
It's 50 Carvino postgame report will be coming your way with John and the gang, time permitting, of course.
Now Darrelle Revis has to get his head on again. He's still playing corner. He's still looking at the officials behind him. He has to now concentrate on the next play.
Second down. Toss play.
And Revis makes the play.
Revis comes, and there's a penalty flag. The line judge has got another penalty flag. They may be backing Nebraska up again here. Let's see.
That was a great play by Darrelle Revis that time. Gets called on the interference, puts his hat back on, and makes a great play as a corner.
The College Football on ABC is brought to you by Pontiac. Go online to nominate your Pontiac game-changing performance. Pacific Life for insurance, annuities, and investments. Choose Pacific Life, the power to help you succeed. And Outback Steakhouse, no rules, just right.
You know, if I have first pick of players on the field, I might take Revis on this football field. He is quite a football player.
Look down on the campus here in Lincoln. Cornhuskers back on the Pittsburgh 45-yard line. Second down and 18. Threw it away. And Corey Ross was indicating that he was being held up there on the play, so it will be third down.
Nice play by Charles Salette that time. Number 54, defensive end. Good pass rusher, but read the screen right away and just had Ross wrapped up and nothing for Taylor to do.
Let's see if they're looking for another pass interference. Third down and 18.
Pittsburgh's been doing all man-to-man coverage on long yards. Let's see if they just set in a zone this time.
Pittsburgh said they were not concerned about these wide receivers.
They were right.
Throwing deep. Non-incomplete. No contact down there this time, obviously. That ball was thrown long that time. Taylor got it down there, and now Cook will trot onto the field to punt again for Nebraska.
That was a great stop by the Pittsburgh defense. Revis put his hat back on, made a good play, holding on the play. Nebraska continues to make mistakes, and Pittsburgh feels better and better about their chances of winning this game.
And again, the wide receiver, Joe Del Sardo. Dave Wanstead has inserted him back there instead of Revis. And to Cook, an outstanding punter. Del Sardo lets it go. And it'll be down inside the 5-yard line. So Pittsburgh having trouble with its punt return team here. Jay Moore downfield. And what a leg Cook has. College football on ABC, brought to you by Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottler. Dr. Pepper, one taste and you get it. Pacific Life for insurance, annuities, and investments. Choose Pacific Life, the power to help you succeed. And Outback Steakhouse, no rules, just right. Pittsburgh coming out from inside the 5-yard line. 5:41 left here in the fourth quarter. They trail it by a point. The freshman going nowhere. as number 13, Corey McKeon, the middle linebacker, brings him down.
Tyler Palko now is just hoping that they can get out for one first down. Get out where he has an opportunity to throw the football around and get it in field goal range to get a chance to win this game. It's quarterback time now. 5 minutes to go. One good drive, and you can steal a win.
2nd and 9. Stevens Howling, the running back. Play fake to him. Palko from the end zone. Incomplete. 3rd down and 10.
Well, both offenses have been struggling in this football game. Give the defense some credit, but I think the real story of this football game is right down here. Neither team is good enough to win on 3rd down. When it gets time to make a play, neither team can do it with these offenses.
And Pittsburgh ready. 3rd down and 9 for the Panthers. 4 down for the Black Shirts. Palko chased out of the end zone, has to stop, fired downfield, incomplete, and Pittsburgh forced to punt inside of 5 minutes.
Had time, Barry Turner, number 99, the true freshman, recruited out of Tennessee. Coaches said he's going to be a superstar before he leaves Nebraska. An Erasmus James type pass rusher is what Kevin Costro told me.
Terrence Nunn back on the field. At the very least, even a fair catch, they should have excellent field position. Adam Grassel punting out of his own end zone. Beautiful view right behind that punter. He's got a return. 40. Down he goes at the 37-yard line. So again, Nebraska working with excellent field position. Malley down to defend it. And Nebraska hoping to finish him off here if they can, but they haven't shown much offense. So at the bottom of the hour with Gary Danielson and Jack Arute, I'm Brett Musburger. Nice to have you along here from Lincoln, Nebraska. The Cornhuskers are 2-0. The Panthers are 0-2. But the Nebraska offense, regardless of what happens here, that offense is still very much a work in progress in Lincoln. Even if they win it, they're not going to be too satisfied by this performance. Ross jitterbugs to the 35-yard line. There'll be some more uneasy folks here around Lincoln about the future of this team. They've had a very favorable schedule. When you look at their schedule, you would give them a shot to run unbeaten all the way to Oklahoma on the 29th, but not the way they've played offense today.
Not with this offense. Not yet. No difference maker for this Nebraska offense. Not one guy you really have to stop.
Ross nice to the 32.
Blades did a nice job standing that one up. He and Morris. You know, Brett, not even an offensive lineman that really is an NFL caliber, run behind me type offensive lineman. Everybody's out there just guys.
We welcome those of you who watched Ohio State and San Diego State. 27-6, the Buckeyes in command after giving up that shocking opening touchdown in that game. Here on a defensive struggle with neither offense doing much. The Huskers with a first down across the 30-yard line, lead it by 1, 7-6. Now we were talking about the Nebraska schedule. There's their 2 wins. Iowa State in here, and that figures to be a tough game. Then Texas Tech hit them with 70 points last year. Then they go to Baylor and Missouri, and we have circled October 29th, Oklahoma. But Gary, as you point out, they're going to need more offense against Iowa State, Texas Tech, Missouri to win those games, no matter where they're playing.
Yeah, and they know that. I mean, you're right. And, boy, it's going to be one of those things where the defense starts looking over to the offensive field.
4.
Another
sportsmanlike.
We'll step off 15 yards, and it's still 1st and 10.
I did not see that at the end of the play. He must have thrown the ball down or said something after the play, because that was a first down and then stepped off after.
That's just losing your poise in a one-point game. When you're driving down for a big touchdown like that. Ross has been around long enough to know better than that.
Gets hit, spins forward, makes the first down. And does the points to, I don't know, for a first down. If that's the call on Sportsmanlike, that's stretching it in my mind again.
First and 10 Nebraska from the Panther 41-yard line.
First down and 10. Taylor. Draw play. Ross will not point this time. I will guarantee it.
Well, he didn't make a first down. That's a little bit too much for me.
That's a kind of flamboyant behavior that they just don't want to see at the college game. Timeout. 7-6, just inside of 3 minutes. And there's the total yards by quarter. 252 Nebraska, 255 Pittsburgh. The difference, Pittsburgh's had one field goal block, missed a second one. And the Huskers up by a point, and there Ross bangs for the first down. With 2:50 to go. And reminder now that tonight on ABC's Saturday Movie of the Week, Ben Affleck, Bruce Willis, and Liv Tyler star in Armageddon, starting at 8, 7 Central Time. At your primetime lineup, Austin, a starting guard and a good one.
Yeah, he's
first-year starter coming off a knee injury. A junior limps back off, and that's a troubling sign.
Great block on the play to spring him, but when he unloaded, a lot of pressure was on that left knee, because he is the one that sprung that play for the first down. And he said, "I know my knee is never going to be the same again." But he's playing anyway.
Dave Kennedy, the strength coach we worked with him. We saw a shot of him over there on the sideline. 5 seconds on that play clock. Ross eating up time to the 23-yard line. And Gary, let's go back to that previous
let's
play.
say if you're going to block this well with a bad knee, we're going to show it again. Watch him come inside here. Left guard, power O. This is old-time Nebraska football. Power O, block, gash it. Good job inside by Dane Todd, number 41 also. That's I hate to say it, that's old-time football. That isn't West Coast football.
Ross with 151 yards here today. He's averaged 5 yards a carry. Inside the 25-yard line. Will come again, and Ross has been the workhorse. There's Blades, Benny Blades' son, making the stop from Plantation, Florida. Take our final break of the game. 1:40 to go, 7-6 Nebraska. Partners, circle young Harrison Beck there. Big-time quarterback prospect, consensus number 10 in the country out of Clearwater, Florida. He committed very early to Nebraska. Jay Norville has spent time in Florida going over the offense. They have not redshirted him. They wanted to take a look at how the offense was moving. They have said he would get a solid shot. And as they approach Big 12 play, you wonder if the freshman from Clearwater, Florida, Harrison Beck, might not get a chance to see what he can do against an offense that has only 1 touchdown. Now, you hate to blame this all on Zach Taylor. That would certainly not be fair. Gary has pointed out they do not have breakout receivers on this team or anything like that. But sometimes just a rhythm change can do things. It might be very hard for a freshman to step in there, but he's a very ballyhooed prospect. They also have a running back, and his name is Lucky. We haven't seen much of him so far. He is a freshman from North Hollywood, California. He was a top 5 running back prospect, number 20. Now, we have seen their fullback of the future, Cody Glenn, is number 34. There is your backfield of the future. And if this offense continues to struggle, you've got to take a look at the young blood right there. There's the fullback, and there's the I-back, and there's the young quarterback. You got to get the young bucks out there and play them. All around the country, we see freshmen making impact, and this offense just won't get it done, even in the Big 12 North, which has been down here the last couple of years. This is a very favorable schedule for this team. They could make a run. So now we've got 4th down I'll let you thank everybody along with me here, Gary, the executive producer of ABC's Mike Pearl, senior producer Bob Toms, the coordinating producer and the producer of today's game, Bob Goodrich. Nice job. And directed by Steve Bime, the old Trojan himself down there. TD is Randy Hargrove, associate producer Will O'Toole, associate director Brian Fay, and our production assistants Dan Barr, Julie Norman, Affleck and St. Mary, as we like to call him. Production manager Kevin Winling, technical manager Mark Towie, stage manager Erica Conti does an outstanding job. The computer stats Craig Rothberg, booth stats George Hill, spotter Scott Musburger, may keep him around. Scoreboard operator Jason Polstein. The Mauve Man took a day off for EA Sports. So here we are. Here is a 38-yard field goal attempt for Nebraska, leading it by 7-6. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
No good.
A 1-point game instead of a 4 at 128. How huge is that? Pittsburgh, though, has exhausted its timeouts. So Palko is going to have to run this drill, Gary, but he has a chance.
He has a chance, and he only needs a field goal. Started out in the middle. Remember, he kicked it against the wind, and when it starts to turn, it turns very quickly. Palko now needs 3 points.
Greg Lee is the go-to receiver, folks. He's 86. Kinder would be the other wide. Del Sardo, but 86 is the man. He's matched against Green.
3-man rush for Nebraska on the first down.
They go to the prevent. Throws in underneath, short of the first down, puts it in Kinder's hands. Greg Lee was at the bottom.
Pretty surprised by the 3-man rush. I gotta say, they only need a field goal, and it's downwind.
Now Palko got a lot of time against that 3-man rush. Almost gave it up again as he slipped it into Stevens Howley, the 5'7" freshman who's had a big breakout day. Down to 98 yards, though, rushing after he gave those yards back.
Right, Kevin Cosgrove's going to get second guessed by a lot of people if they put field goal on the board.
1st and 10 against the prevent. Rush of 3. Palko going to take it off. Remember, they're out of timeouts. He does not get the first down to stop the clock. They're going to have to hurry now. Clock is ticking. No timeouts. No first down. Yard shy. Palko checks that sideline. .38 seconds. No good. Incomplete pass stops the clock. And Bullocks defending the wide receiver. We welcome those of you in Columbus been watching the Buckeyes win 27-6 with Gary Danielson and Jack Arute. I'm Brett Musburger. Nebraska hanging on for dear life. Pittsburgh with the ball, 34 seconds to go. Out of timeouts, 3rd and 1 for Tyler Palko and the Panthers. Palko with time, incomplete, broken up at midfield as Daniel Bullocks, the other one of the twins with Josh Bullocks, playing for the New Orleans Saints. Daniel Bullocks, who stole the ball last week against Wake Forest and dashed in for a touchdown, makes this 4th and 1 for Pittsburgh.
Ball needs to be thrown to the outside. You can see the corners to the outside. They're falling off on anything. The opening on the play, on the prevent, is in the middle of the field.
Got to have at least a first down here, Gary.
It's only a
28
yard.
seconds to go.
You only need a yard.
Palko's a decent runner. They jam the middle. He's got the first down, though. He stops that clock, and now they've got to move quickly.
And they can get up and just spike the ball now. Downs are not a problem. Get up and spike the ball, where they got 2 calls in the huddle.
First down and 10. Wanstead's team is ready to go. From the gun. Wind is at their back. Sideline incomplete.
It's just not there. Sidelines are not there. That's where all of the Nebraska defenders are. You got to throw the ball down the middle, and you have to throw it at least first down plays.
17 seconds to go. Josh Cummings is Dave Wanstead's kicker.
Got to get a crossing route about 18 yards. Down about the 40, 35-yard line is the target area.
Green, the converted running back, has Lee. Matched up down at the bottom of your screen. You can see
right there is
the safety is also keeping an eye over there. Palko has to check Lee. Slips away from pressure.
There it
Fires
is.
deep. Got it. Del Sardo. That'll stop the clock inside the 30-yard line. And Pittsburgh's giving themselves a chance. 9 seconds on the clock. Now Palco will stop it after the 26-yard gain. They will send Cummings in.
Easy.
Stops the clock right there with 7 seconds to go. Cummings is 2 for 4. Had his first one blocked.
That's the area that you throw against to prevent. With 3-man rush, you just be right up into the pocket. You can't cover the middle of the field like that with linebackers. And if you complete one 15-yarder, you're in field goal range. Now, if it was a 7-point game, there it is right there. That's where you need to run the ball, right in the middle of the field. When you're right up into the pocket, that gives you time to come to the inside, and there's that opening to throw the ball right on the X in the field.
Josh Cummings hit a 49-yarder against Notre Dame. This one is 47 with the wind at his back. Grassel, the punter. Nebraska will use one of it. Try to freeze him up here a little bit. Grassel, the punter, over there to talk to him. And Josh Cummings was 3 of 3 coming into the game, 2 of 4 here today. And Gary, you think that the prevent was a huge mistake on Nebraska's part.
There's no doubt. They have not been able to block the defensive ends and the pass rush all game. You don't need to rush 5 or 6. But a 4-man rush with Wally Muhammad and Barry Turner was the strategy. Now, Brent, if it was a 7-point game and they needed a touchdown, I would buy into it, but not a field goal. You only got to get the ball to the 35-yard line.
Well, today's Chevrolet players of the game, and there were candidates galore defensively. There's Darrell Rivas, the young sophomore corner for Pittsburgh. Adam Carricker, one of the defensive ends that Gary was referring to, the edge rushers who did such a good job. And now it has come down to the kickers. Josh Cummings. Mark Estemeyer is the snapper for Pittsburgh. The punter, Adam Grassel, will put it down. And Cummings will attempt to send Pittsburgh
timeout number 2.
A winner. And number 2 gets used here.
Now, you would think, if you're Nebraska, do you keep one timeout in case you have one play left? Probably not enough time to make any difference, does it?
But they blocked, missed that 49-yarder, 38 and 27. He has made the only points on the board. And this one is a 47-yarder that he'll get a chance to kick.
And it was number 99, Barry Turner, that blocked it last time. They will push from the right side again and then jump and leap on the play. Bill Callahan is calling those timeouts from the sideline, standing right next to the official. Josh is out of New Hill, California. He came to Pittsburgh from JC, the College of the Canyons out in California. He helped that team to an 11-1 record. They went to the semifinals of a very tough Southern California JC league. Here's a chance to send Pittsburgh home with a W. An upset win in Lincoln, Nebraska. With 7 seconds left on the clock. Here comes the 47-yarder. Grassel will put it down. High snap. Throws it. Nebraska survives. A bad snap. It went right to Cummings. And Wannstedt says, hold on, that's a first down. No, it wasn't. He gets another down. It was only second down. He has another opportunity, another play. There's still 1 second to go. So it was a planned play. No, I don't think so. No. It was such a high snap. The center snapped it when I don't think the holder was ready for it. He was looking back at the field goal kicker, and the ball was snapped before he put his hand out. He never saw the ball. Exactly. And a perfect play by the kid, not to run it here, Cummings. Just throw it by Cummings. Saved the moment. Absolutely. By throwing the ball. Now you wonder, can they go up on the clock? 1 second left. 1 second left. Now, this was all chance. Nobody thought of it. Is this a goofy game or what? Now, I wonder if you can review whether the play actually took more than 7 seconds. Watch it. There you can see Grassley. He's not even looking, and the ball is snapped. Hits him in the helmet, I think, right as it goes. Wow. Yes, it does. And happens to bounce to him. It's not the holder's fault. No, absolutely not. He is to hold his hands and say, go. The snapper fired it before he was supposed to. Now the coaches, right? But here's another thing, Brent. Well, the Nebraska coaches are arguing that nobody went out for a pass, and it should have been intentional grounding. okay? Because if you see anybody go out for a pass for Pittsburgh, there's nobody out there. He throws it. Why is that not intentional grounding?
And he wasn't outside.
Not outside the box. And I'm telling you, Nebraska still may get this ball.
1 second for Cummings. You better believe that Estermeyer will pay attention this time. Now watch Grassel as he gets ready. 46-yarder. Blocked. Nebraska will win it. Finally, Callahan smiles. Wanstead's kicking game comes up 2 of 5. The special teams, the kicking game, the difference. Cummings has 2 blocked. And Nebraska wins it. It wasn't pretty, but they'll take it.
Yeah, it was downright ugly. I think it was Adam Ickles, number 49, that came around the corner. Or was it Mark LaFleur? I think it was Ickles, 49, that got his hand on that right through the middle of that place again. A comedy of errors.
Jackaroo, take it away.
Well, Coach, first of all, congratulations, but tell me what went through your mind when you saw a second opportunity for a field goal by Pittsburgh.
Well, I knew it was an early down. They had another chance. I thought they were going to call an intentional grounding out there. But we practice this every day, Jack. Full speed, hard and live every day. I'm really proud of our kids and the effort that they gave in those 2 attempts.
Let's talk about your offense, though. Where do you have to go? Let's not.
We got a long ways to go. I really felt that in the 4-minute drill here where we were trying to stall the ball, they did an excellent job. We just didn't convert on that last series. But we got a long ways to go yet.
3-0, congratulations.
Thanks, Jack. Appreciate it.
That's an understatement. One last look at the second blocked field goal. And Cornhusker fans are saying, thank goodness for the defense and the kicking team. Once again, our final score, 7-6. Nebraska now 3-0. ABC Sports Online at ESPN.com. Search ABC Sports. Stay tuned for the Thrifty Carmelo postgame report after this from our ABC stations. So long, everybody.